Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Sorta My Podcast. My name is Vin the Human, Vincent Herman. Sitting to my right,
Chelsea, aka Shellraiser.
and sitting to her front, my left.
This is James Odle, also known as Alpha Spectre.
Unfortunately, we won't be joined by Boba Fett today. Bob Collins is actually either just finishing up or still working a 24-plus hour shift. And he lays concrete, so yeah. That's got to be a bitch. So yeah, he's not joining us today because he is either in a coma, just about to get off work, or still working. Anyways, we're going to jump in with comic books right off the bat today, guys, and we got a special one for you. Deadpool issue 13, big old crossover 4-part issue with Daredevil and Power Man Iron Fist. Now, if you've been following along with Deadpool, or you haven't been reading Deadpool, don't worry, this is a one-shot story. So if you like what you hear, you can go run out, pick it up. You don't have to buy any more after that. Basically, we start off in the Daily Bugle with Ben Urich trying to figure out if the story he's working on is newsworthy or not.
Which, I want to point something out about that real quick, is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we don't have Ben Urich anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Which
they killed him quick in Daredevil.
Yeah, but which kind of makes me sad because he's a big journalist in this world.
Well, yeah, he's a big part of the Daredevil story in general, and
He's just
Netflix just straight killed him. He's gone. But anyways, we cut to a bank where a silken-haired, red-suited man who reminds me of what's that guy from Yu-Gi-Oh?
Not Kaiba.
Yeah, it's not Kaiba.
The big evil guy with the Egyptian eye.
the Egyptian eye.
I can't think of his name.
It's been so long. But yeah, he is blatantly that guy.
I think his name is Silver Fox, if I remember right.
In the Marvel universe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're walking into this bank that this investment banker is trying to clear out and bail on. Because apparently he's been stealing, or rather investing laundered money for various different criminals.
Marvin Shirk.
And the Silver Fox has found out about this. So the Silver Fox shows up and threatens him by threatening to cut off something. And in enters Typhoid Mary.
Typhoid Mary is this extremely dangerous assassin type character. Twin swords, half of her face is
painted
white. Pretty crazy. And she has pyro powers. After she threatens him,
she lops off one of the guy's hands that was with Silver Fox.
Well, she comes in to threaten him, the investment banker, and ends up getting confronted by Silver Fox, and they end up fighting instead.
And the best part about this is when she enters into the room, she slams her sword through the door, and she's like, "Here's Mary." Like from The Shining.
I don't really know much about Typhoid Mary, but I thought, at that point, I was like, holy crap, we got another Harley Quinn.
That's my initial thought.
That's what I thought, too. I thought that it was more like a Harley Quinn kind of character in this.
But he does end up sneaking away and decides, for some reason, to go to Deadpool for help.
Of all the people he could have chosen, he went to Deadpool.
And Deadpool basically tells him that he's pretty much screwed until this investment banker, I guess his name, what is it, Marvin?
Marvin Shirkley.
Yeah, Marvin Shirkley tells him that Typhoid Mary was involved.
And then it gets interesting because apparently he had a really interesting past with Typhoid Mary because she raped him.
More or less.
No, it's
I guess.
Well, it goes to explain that he was with this chick, was in love with her. Her name was Siren. And apparently Siren went crazy and became Typhoid Mary.
Mm-hmm.
And
so is she
has mentally scarred Deadpool.
That's why she has a split
personality?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's two people in one, and it's... Yeah, so...
Okay. And then Typhoid Mary ends up just humiliating him. And
there's an ad here for the Simon's Cat card game. This same ad is on the back of all of the Rebirth issues, which is causing the pink stain on the on the edge of all of the Rebirth issues.
I didn't notice.
Yep.
Pink
Yeah,
suit.
on it's on the variants that have the white cover.
Hmm.
Yeah. So thanks, Simon's cat.
Well, Deadpool pretty much assumes that this guy is going to die. He tells him he's not going to live through this. But anyways, my payment. So the guy throws down these diamonds. What? That says FAP.
Yeah, he throws the diamonds
Near
at his
Deadpool's
crotch,
crotch,
and it says FAP.
I don't know if they did that on purpose, though.
Can I just point out that Deadpool's combination too is 69 left, 69 right, 69 left. Just to make this even better.
Which, later in the book, he refuses to give out his combination.
Mm-hmm.
Right here, he's blatantly saying it out loud in front of this guy. But he goes to put these diamonds in his safe, and Marvin asks him to hold onto this laptop for him. So he attempts to fit it into the safe, but he can't get it to go through the slot. So instead, he dumps it in his trash can and says, "It's perfect." So they get on Deadpool's bike and end up getting accosted by two gentlemen in suits, which Deadpool doesn't know whether they're cops or not, but assaults anyways. And they make this quick getaway. Later, we see all these different mob bosses, including Typhoid Mary.
Which did you notice the place they're at? It's the Red October Social Club.
Yeah.
I did not notice that.
Just little things stuck out to me like that.
Mm-hmm.
Random Sean Connery reference.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all meeting and trying to figure out what to do about the situation where the guy stole their money, and Deadpool ends up showing up and tries to call out Mary. While he's doing this, Marvin is asking him, what are you gonna do about my situation? He's like,
this doesn't help. How does this help me?
Yeah, how does this help me? And Deadpool basically tells him, one thing at a time, mine's more important.
He said, "This beef with Mary's got to be resolved. Let me have a little revenge, and then we'll see about your problem."
We'll see about your problem, yeah. So Typhoid Mary and Deadpool fight, bantering back and forth the entire time. And eventually she ends up setting Marvin on fire.
So all of Marvin's clothes catch on fire, so he strips out of them.
Yeah.
So he is now running around in a helmet and tidy whities.
Well, he tried to run away, and she said, "Where do you think you're going? Do the fire pants dance." And literally,
while this is going on, all the other guys are opening fire on Deadpool, who's getting shot up, and decides that it's time to get out of there. He assumes that he can no longer really help Marvin, so he decides that he needs to seek legal help, and they show up at, what is this, town hall, city hall, something like that. They show up at city hall to the district attorney's office. I can't talk today.
Assistant district attorney's office.
Yeah, he's the ADA, and there just so happens to be one Mr. Matthew Murdock.
And the lines right here at the end, he says, "I can't say I'm a huge fan of the blinds in this office. Maybe I'm going to be stuck with you for a little bit longer." And I feel like that's a double entendre right there, because
usually they'll highlight the word that they're trying to do the double entendre with, but this time it's just regular text. So maybe they meant to do it, maybe they didn't, but it's funny either way.
Because as we'll find out here in a minute, I don't think Deadpool knows he's blind yet.
Yeah.
No, that's right. No, he does. He finds out here in a minute.
I like what Matthew Murdock says. He says, "Why does it suddenly smell like of gunpowder, sadness, and sriracha?"
All right, and that leads us into Daredevil 7.1 section of this issue, where Matthew Murdock is trying to get everything straight about the investment of the cash, how they're trying to kill him, how he came to hire Deadpool to try and protect him. Which he's been doing a terrible job of, as Matt acknowledges. And now he wants to go into witness protection. Marvin says that he's got all of their financial information and the wrongdoings on a laptop, which he gave to Deadpool. And Deadpool cuts him off to say, "That's enough, you little Miss Chatty." I'm not so sure we should trust this guy, Marvin. I mean, don't you think it's a little suspicious that he hasn't commented even once on the fact that you're wearing nothing but undies and a motorcycle helmet? How do you explain that, barrister? Could it be that you yourself are the guilty party? The defense rests.
Very, very classic, idiotic Deadpool shenanigans.
Yeah,
it's great.
Matt says, it could be that, or it could be because I'm blind. He's like, well, I didn't think about that, and so he swings a sword into Matt Murdock's real close to Matt Murdock's face, like an inch away from his face. And Matt Murdock asks him if he's waving his hand in front of his face to check if he's still blind. Deadpool says, more or less. And they decide to sidebar so that Deadpool can try and convince him to not go this route. Even though Deadpool's the one who tried to convince him to go this route. More or less after a little back and forthing, Deadpool being Deadpool, Matt Murdock tells him, well, you don't hire me. Basically, what you need is that laptop to go into witness protection. No laptop, I can't do anything for you. So they decide to go get the laptop, which Deadpool can't seem to remember whatsoever. Like, he doesn't remember being handed the laptop. He doesn't remember where it went. Basically, Marvin's like, let's just go back to your office. Because Deadpool was about to bail on him as a case closed situation. They said, Marvin asked if there's any way they can get some clothes. Deadpool says there's no time, but he does grab a trash bag from a nearby trash can and puts it over his naked body. While they're doing that, Daredevil jumps in and says that Matt Murdock sometimes calls on him for help and that he was in the neighborhood. So Daredevil calls out Marvin here for being a criminal and a money launderer. And working for criminals, and basically points out that he's going to go to jail.
He's like, do you forget that I beat up bad guys? He's like, yeah, and then points out that he's done all this illegal stuff. He's like, oh, I'm a criminal too.
Right.
Yeah. So Deadpool tells him that they're going to have to go through a secret entrance to get into his office, when all of a sudden he smells something, and his head bursts into flames. It's Typhoid Mary who's just showing up to, I think, is she trying to kill Marvin, or is she trying to get the money from him?
I'm not entirely sure. I don't think that's ever clarified.
Yeah, I don't think
I feel like she's trying to take Marvin, but she's trying to get rid of
very chaotic.
Also, kind of doesn't want Deadpool around either, so she's kind of like,
So they get away from Typhoid Mary for a second when they point out that Deadpool got burned pretty bad. And Deadpool starts to say, and he turns around, his mask is melted to his face, and he's screaming, I'm blind!
He has no eyes.
And this...
his eyes are burned out of his skull.
This starts my favorite part of this issue.
Same.
My God. It breaks down into just Deadpool pointing out he's blind in almost every panel.
It's milking it.
And Daredevil asks, he's like, doesn't you have a healing factor? And he's like, don't minimize my pain. I'm blind, Daredevil. Look it up. I can't because I'm blind.
He's like, I can feel my super senses kicking in all day.
Yeah. It doesn't work that way. You don't get super senses because you go blind.
So Daredevil is convinced that his super senses are going to help him fight off these goons. So he tells them to get upstairs to go look for the laptop, while he stands downstairs and waves his arms around with his swords in hand. What are you pointing at here?
There's a thing over on the other page where he says, I used to look up to you, man, talking to Daredevil. Now I don't, though. I don't look up to anyone because I'm blind.
Yeah, he just keeps milking that for everything it's worth. So while Daredevil and Marvin are upstairs looking for the laptop, Deadpool's downstairs trying to take care of the goons, which basically just consists of him, flipping around with his swords, asks if the guys are just out of reach with their guns pointing at him. They confirm this, so he throws his swords up in the air, grabs 2 grenades, and says, I sensed it. Blows them all to hell, including himself.
All the while Daredevil's trying to break into this safe
Yeah.
by hearing. But
he just can't
can't hear
because Deadpool is
Too loud.
Deadpool's being too loud. He's like, what was that? Daredevil says, Deadpool. I'm guessing he either blew something up or got blown up.
He comes into the door, charred. He's like, a little bit of both.
Daredevil asks him if he can open up the safe, and Deadpool points out, how exactly could I do that? I can't see the numbers, man. I am blind.
He's fine, tell me the combination, I'll open it. I'm not telling you the combination of my safe. That's where I keep all my special stuff.
That's when Daredevil decides he's gonna try and do it himself again, and also decides to point out that Deadpool's like the worst person alive. They eventually get into the safe, and I think the diamonds and everything are gone, but specifically they point out that the laptop is not there. So Deadpool decides to retrace his steps.
Can I also point out that the only thing in the safe is 2 dimes that we can see? Only 2 dimes.
Yeah, 2 dimes. 1 heads, 1 tails.
That's Deadpool's special stuff that he has in that safe.
While he's retracing his steps, he realizes that he put the laptop in the trash can for safekeeping. But the trash can is empty, and Daredevil reiterates, worst person alive. While that's happening, Deadpool decides to defend himself, going off on an entire tirade about thinking that maybe Daredevil's the blind one, because he doesn't see that Deadpool is a person that matters.
Oh my God.
Making references to Matt Murdock and how much he looks up to him.
He thinks he's one of the bravest men he knows. He's blind too, and that they have that in common, and that he became a lawyer in spite of this disability. One of the most noble professions ever. And he's proud to call him his best friend. He starts to go on like that when all of a sudden his eyes grow back and pop out of his skull. And he's like, oh sweet, my eyes grew back. Where's Daredevil? Daredevil left, apparently, right around the part where he said that he's a person that matters. And they decided to go talk to the cleaning lady, who confirms that the trash went out earlier that day. So, Marvin is freaking out, and he's like, what?
This panel where he talks that Deadpool has like the most dedicated cleaning staff out there, and this cleaning lady is just mopping up and cleaning up all of these dead bodies that Deadpool blew up earlier.
So while Marvin is freaking out about the fact that the laptop is gone, Deadpool tells him to relax, and he decides to go enlist the help of Power Man and Iron Fist. We pretty much consider this to be an easy day.
And Luke Cage looks at Martin. He's like, I have one question. Why is that man wearing a trash bag?
Foreshadowing.
And then it says to be continued on the next page after these ads for Civil War and Spider-Man.
And here we come into the Power Man and Iron Fist issue of all of this.
4.1.
Where, if you haven't been reading Power Man and Iron Fist, you don't necessarily need to read this.
Yeah.
There's a couple of context things you'll understand.
A little bit of a mess.
Yeah, it's out there. So, the first page, Power Man, Iron Fist, Deadpool, and Martin are at the dump. And that's where they decide they're going to look for this laptop and all of the garbage that's come in through the day. There's some that still hasn't come in yet. And one of the ladies points to the inside where all of the new trash comes in and said that that's where it would be if it's here. Through this whole scene, Luke Cage just scowls at Deadpool the whole time and says, I hate him so much. Because a lot of people don't remember Luke Cage led the Avengers for a while and had to put up with Deadpool.
Wow.
So we see them, they're all on top of piles of garbage, digging, and Iron Fist is just all like, I can feel it. We're about to find the laptop. And Luke is like, you've been saying that every 15 minutes for the last 3 hours. and he's just, Iron Fist is trying to keep everyone positive and all of that. And then he looks at Luke as he's putting rubber gloves on. And he says, why are you wearing gloves? You have unbreakable skin. He says, my skin may be unbreakable. That doesn't mean I want it rubbing against moldy food and dirty diapers. Fair enough. And he's like, you know, you don't see Larry over there complaining. That's because Larry never led the Avengers. Because this guy's like geeking out about being on a mission with Power Man and Iron Fist. We come over here, they're still sifting through, and the guy's like, I wish I could give you guys some more of my crew to help, you know, but there's no one else here that I can give helping. And Luke just keeps going, this is the worst job we've ever taken. Dirty diapers, I'm going to end up smelling like icky yucky.
This is the cutest
Iron Fist looks at him, and he's like, what's icky yucky? Luke's like, come on, you know. And we see Luke and Jessica Jones' daughter saying, Papa, I have to go icky yucky. So, it's another reference for shit. So, and this is my favorite part of the entire Power Man Iron Fist section of this. So, what's the difference between icky yucky and fiddle faddle? And Luke just tells him, context, bro. Just context. This situation is fiddle faddle as opposed to icky yucky, which is what my daughter leaves in the toilet. So, several times throughout this comic, Luke has to correct Iron Fist on the appropriate way to not to use these
fiddle faddle
icky yucky because a little backtrack. Jessica Jones has pretty much forbid Luke Cage from cussing around their daughter. So he's just out of habit adapted these new ways of cussing, fiddle faddle, icky yucky, all that, and he uses fiddle faddle constantly. This is the first time we've seen icky yucky, and so it's entertaining, especially if you know the context leading into it. But they go inside, they're slinging trash left and right, and then Deadpool picks up a handful of trash and smells it. And he's like, and Martin is with him. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, after I was blinded, my other senses became heightened. Martin tells him, you were blind for like an hour. And Deadpool's like, I know, but I think my senses are still heightened. Does this smell bad? Just shoving a pile of trash in Martin's face. And so Martin's going off on him. It's like, I think we should split up. Because he's getting sick of Deadpool shit. Yeah. And he says, we can't split up. I gotta protect you. And gangsters are hunting us. They'll be here any minute. How would they know? And we come over, and Deadpool made a tweet about going to the dump to find a missing laptop. He's like...
on a laptop.
He's like, these things just kind of happen. So, we're back at the dump. Okay. Deadpool picks up this pair of underwear.
Yeah, same.
And he's like, this place is great. Look what I found. I feel like an idiot for buying new underwear last week when they've got some here for free. Yeah. Little spit and polishes will be good as new.
Marvin's like, I'm gonna die.
Devil's like, I can't believe how much cool stuff they have here for free. So up come the bad guys with Typhoid Mary rolling up, and Russian guy talking. Now you believe me, Tweeter is a good tool. So obviously they checked Deadpool's Twitter account and saw they were gonna be here, so they showed up. Like, these guys, they're arguing in the car, and they come up, and she's like, I'm trying to enjoy the calm before the storm, Typhoid Mary says, because it's going to rain death and destruction. We go back, Power Man and Iron Fist are walking to another pile, and the guy explains to them that they're digging through trash that's weeks old now, because new trash is on top. Makes sense. And then Luke's like, you hear that? I've been digging through dirty diapers filled with week old icky yucky. And Iron Fist's like, and that's a bunch of fiddle faddle?
Exactly.
Exactly. Context. And then all the dump workers ask, what is he doing? Looking over at Deadpool. Iron Fist's like, he's being Deadpool. Looks like, I hate him so much. And he's just walking around in these nasty dumpster underwear. They're like these giant pink polka dot boxers that he found. And he's like, we're looking for a laptop. Laptop! The thing we're here looking for. The reason we're up to our elbows in dirty diapers filled with fiddle faddle. And Luke looks at him, icky yucky, man, icky yucky. Diapers filled with icky yucky. So Deadpool's like, what? What language are you speaking? Like, a little bit more banter back and forth, and out pop the villains. And Typhoid Mary yells, get them. And they just start unloading on these guys. So they all start running inside, and Deadpool says, my regenerative healing power should have me covered. But to be clear, you don't have any healing powers, do you? Asking Martin. He's like, no! He's like, that's what I thought. Just stay close. And don't get any weird ideas about me holding your hand. So Luke walks in, his shirt's all tattered. Deadpool makes a comment about he shouldn't sexualize himself like that. And Typhoid Mary and Deadpool go at it once again. And so Luke tells all the dump workers to get to cover, and Luke and Iron Fist start beating the hell out of all these guys. And this spread page is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not... Iron Fist's head looks a little weird right there.
Yeah.
But, like, it shows all the fighting going on. Luke Cage throwing people. Iron Fist beating the shit out of people. And then we see Deadpool with Typhoid Mary's legs around his neck. And Marvin hiding under a trash can lid. He says, why do you taunt me like this, woman? She's like, you love it, baby. And...
Oh my god, I just noticed this.
Yeah.
The newspaper flying by.
Typhoid Mary is doing like a big high combat kick curb stomp to Deadpool. And so it exposes her crotch. But there's a little piece of trash that flies by to cover it up. Good thinking, Marvel. Quick thinking.
Yeah, Marvel.
So Luke's like, should we help Deadpool? Iron Fist looks at him, you're kidding, right? Luke's like, yeah, I hate him. Deadpool just turns and kicks the shit out of Typhoid Mary.
After, like, making 100% sure everyone knows that it's because she's beating the shit out of him and he doesn't want to be looked at like a misogynistic jerk.
So he has to clarify, this is self-defense, nothing else. And so after the fighting's all done, a guy in a garbage truck rolls up. He's like, holy smokes, what happened here? You wouldn't believe it. It was insane. And they're talking about how all of these guys the heroes showed up and everything that went down. The driver was like, that's crazy. You'll never believe what happened to me. Look what some moron threw away. At first I thought it was busted, but it works perfect. And he's holding Marvin's laptop.
I think the great thing about that is that Deadpool laughs and says, that guy just called you a moron.
Yeah, because Martin's like, my laptop. Deadpool says that to him. So they get the laptop. Luke thanks everyone for their help. Everyone's taking selfies with them. And Deadpool's like, anyone want to take a picture with the current Avenger? Don't everyone rush at once. And they all look at him like, one of the workers is like, is he always, like this? Iron Fist says, sometimes he's worse. And the final words of this part of the comic is Luke saying, I hate him so much. And you can just feel the despair in his voice every time he says that.
Alright, so this is the last part, temporary sanitation. Part 4, which I love that word. Those words anyways. They're still in the dump, and they call Murdoch, or Marvin calls Murdoch and says, hey, we got the laptop back. He says, great, maybe you can stay alive and out of jail. And so while they're doing this, Typhoid Mary's coming to, because she was kind of knocked out. So Marvin asks, is she awake? And Mary says, I remember you. I was like, oh, wait, hang on. And Marvin said, hey, she's making that fire face again. Freaks out. So after she makes a comment about how they know how to show a lady a good time, she leaves, but not before setting the garbage on fire. Which Deadpool is, again, caught in the middle of. I think they're all caught in the middle of it.
Yeah. I think it's just Deadpool, Iron Fist, and...
well, yeah, Marvin's definitely not.
It's the three heroes.
Yeah, the three, yeah. And so one of the sorcerers starts running, and Typhoid Mary just punches him in the face, because he's the one that had the laptop. Punches him in the face, takes the laptop, and then hijacks the trash truck. He starts speeding away. Marvin clings onto the garbage truck, and as Deadpool's shooting, and they're going, and then he decides that he's going to shoot like one of those
grappling
hook thingy.
Yeah.
and asked if they were gonna, you guys follow when you can. He's holding on to this. He's backing me up, and then Luke Cage says, "We're right behind you," and they're not. And then he said, "I couldn't help but notice we were just watching them go. Life is too short, man. Our part in this caper is over," is what Luke Cage said. So Deadpool's dragging on the back of it, and Marvin's hanging on, and they're barreling down the street. And all of a sudden, there's a limo that pulls up for Luke Cage and Howard Fistar. It says, "Screech, where's the laptop?" And of course, Luke Cage says, "Fiddle-faddling piece of," which I love. I love the fiddle-faddles. Continuing.
And I love this next part. This is one of the few times you actually see Danny using his powers.
Exactly. Yeah. I love it because the whole time that he's doing this power, he's like, "Today has really sucked." Literally gone through every window and dragged people out, and just like literally, and Silver Fox goes like flying.
I didn't know that Iron Fist wore sneakers.
That's new.
Is that
they used to be slippers?
Oh, okay.
But he kind of looks like he's wearing a tracksuit.
People kind of teased him about the slippers.
And he's also wearing a different colored jumpsuit.
Yeah, it's dark.
Issue.
I kind of like it. So after all of this, they're freaking out. He's like, "Keep the laptop, keep it." And I love what Luke Cage says next. He says, "Too late. You got our knick-knack, paddywhack, and Irish up."
This is why Power Man on Iron Fist is one of my favorite books.
So good. Congrats on making yet another stupid decision, Marvin. Then that's when the page ends because Daredevil comes back to and to where Marvin is, and pretty much jumps on the back of the top of the garbage truck. Sorry, so you can be killed out here. The crazy lady driving this rolling dumpster fire is the only leverage I have on anybody, is what Marvin said. Deadpool's like, "What I miss?" He's like, "We need to stop the truck," is what Daredevil said. They done, and they start shooting the tires of the truck they're all on.
What are you doing?
Stop, you idiot! Put away the gun! Marvin's like, "Whoa," he goes flying.
Breaks his ankle.
Yeah, breaks his ankle. Hits his head. Daredevil says, "See, I knew you weren't going to live through this." And he's like, "Hang on, Shirkley." And Daredevil, of course, saves him.
Yeah.
Marvin, get up, is what he said. And then all Marvin has to say is potatoes. So, which of course Daredevil says, "Damn it." So he swings, he pretty much holds him in one arm and swings. At the bottom of this page, it says, "Today will never end," and it's him, Daredevil, jumping on trucks, jumping on cars, and trying to get Marvin to safety. Yeah, I love it because in the beginning it says, "Now I'm surfing on top of a garbage truck through the streets of New York, driven by the gal who gave me a nervous breakdown. Eat your heart out, Spidey," is what Deadpool says. He swings through the passenger side, and all you see is it says "hey," and it has a whole bunch of things. So he's calling her a bad word, but something. She flips out and he's like, "You," and then it says, "You again, what did I ever do?" And Deadpool's like, "Oh, just impersonated the love of my life and made sex on me, and let me think I could be loved."
she says, "It sounds bad when you put it like that."
Yeah, and I've killed people for way less, like putting toilet paper on a roller backwards. And then she says, "It has to roll under, yeah?" And he's like, "It's over, you heartless
bitch."
And the thing that makes me sad, right?
4 characters.
The thing that makes me really sad, like, kind of, not sad, but, like, just kind of, aw, here is because she's like, "Why don't you kill me, then end it?" He's like, "I should, but I won't. You're sick."
Basically acknowledging that she has a problem. Yeah. She's not inherently evil.
And then, I love it because she's like, "But if you think I'm going to get lectured by Deadpool, what the hell are you doing? Fight me." And he's like, "I'm done. I'm changing the script. Life is too short." So, like, he doesn't want to fight her anymore. And he's like, "Fight me, you coward." He's like, "No." Well, he's like, "Well, maybe just one more goodbye kick." And then, womp. I love it. Womp. Says, "But I'm done with this." And she's like, So every time I punch Typhoid, the merry part of you takes a bruise. The sick side of you is indestructible. Is what I, like, that's what kind of, like, tugs at the heartstrings a little bit, because you see Deadpool's sensitive side. Because, I mean, everyone knows him as this crazy, like, you know. I mean, no one really, like, he does have a soft spot for her, and it was really sad. He's like, "I'm only admitting that now to you because you'll never remember it. When you tell the story, tell everyone I tried and failed to kill you." And then, of course, Daredevil pops back after taking Marvin somewhere. And he says, "I heard what you said, and you're not wrong about Mary. Tell no one. I have a rep." The cops have Marvin. "You have the laptop?" He's like, "It's in the cab." Daredevil says, "Mary's trapped in a revolving door of crime, jail, and misery. Her crimes are addressed, but never her sickness." They talk, and they come together with a solution. And they end up putting her in what looks like a mental hospital.
Yeah, what is this? Is this for S.H.I.E.L.D. or?
I
assume so.
Preston is the person they bring her to.
Yeah.
And she, is she in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. No, that's,
No,
yeah.
but I think this is a S.H.I.E.L.D. facility because they talk about her abilities and all that, and they wouldn't put her somewhere that she would just be able to set the whole place on fire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like a special, like, yeah. The Mary will get better care here than she will in prison. And Deadpool's like, how'd you swing that, Preston? So I carved out some scratch from the anti-terror budget. He's like, you gonna catch hell for that? And she's like, don't know, but she can start fires with her messed up brain. That's pretty terrifying. And I like that. He's like, bye, Mary. Be less crazy the next time I see you. You'll be more dead. Knock, knock, knocking on the... It's so funny. Preston and Deadpool, there's an E character, and I don't remember who E is.
I
don't remember
Deadpool's daughter.
I know, but I don't remember. Is it what's
Ellie?
Ellie.
Yeah, thank you. I was like, ugh. So I mean, E misses you, and he's like, I know, I'll get over for a play date soon. He's like, I don't want to know what you two are talking about. Is what Daredevil says. Daredevil says that S.H.I.E.L.D. agent has you on a pretty short list. What has she got on you? And Daredevil's like, let's just say she made a kitty problem disappear for me. Kitty isn't like Kiddie. You're vile, Wilson. I never know what's true with you, and I'm usually a pretty good judge of character, is what he said. So then you're thinking what I want you to be thinking about when you think about me. So I mean, like, he's trying to give him credit for the whole Mary thing. But he's like, tell no one, or it'll be Deadpool versus Daredevil. The next time, Daredevil's on his way home, and Deadpool's on his way home, and Daredevil's on his way home, separately. So before we get to the next page, it says, I think I smell like a diaper mated with a spoiled egg. And obviously that's talking about the next page. So he goes back to, I don't really know where this place is.
It's an abandoned theater, and it's the new headquarters for Avengers.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, you see, I can't go home like this. Deadpool walks in. This is a day. Deadpool walks in, and to Luke Cage, I was like, Iron Fist, taking a shower. And of course, a bottle of shampoo has to be covering things that I'd rather they not cover. I love it because Deadpool comments and says, so 99% of internet movies start exactly like this. And Luke Cage is like, best not to agitate me when you have the ability to recover from even my most devastating punch. Deadpool's like, duly noted. And this is like their third shower because they're trying to get the garbage stink off. But they have no clothes to wear. So Deadpool's like, hey, anything for you guys. I have just a thing in your sizes. And
he takes them to the gift shop.
And they wear Deadpool merchandise. And I love it because Luke Cage says, sweet Christmas. And Iron Fist is like, you sure these are the only clothes you have? I was like, I have some yoga pants. I can't go home like this. Let's just get this over with. And Deadpool's like, you guys look great. Thanks for rocking the merch.
And like, Luke Cage is in a tank top and
booty
shorts.
They're booty shorts.
And
Deadpool logo.
Crocs.
And Crocs. And Deadpool socks. So socks and Crocs.
Iron Fist is in a bandana, a tight-fitting shirt,
and like
spandex shorts, and Uggs. Yeah. Like Ugg-style boots.
All decked out in Deadpool.
All Deadpool. I love it because at the bottom of the page, it says, Luke Cage walking away says, I'm gonna kill that Mickey Ficky maniac someday. And Iron Fist is like, not if I beat you to it. I like it on the bottom, it says, Deadpool, there's still one detail that needs resolving before we can close this case. And as you turn the page, there's Murdoch and there's Detective Pereira? Was it Pereira? Diarrhea? Detective Piranha?
Detective P.
Okay, he's a detective. Anyways, P. I don't care about him because Matt Murdock's right there. And and Deadpool, they're making introductions, and Deadpool's like, I'm Captain America, but I'll leave a message for my best Avenger, Deadpool. And Murdoch's like, I'm blind, not stupid. We're here to collect the evidence left behind by Marvin Shirkley. Give up the diamonds. And Deadpool's upset. He's like, those are mine. That was my fee. He gave them to me to protect him. So they're bantering. Like, how'd that work out for you? And Deadpool says, I deserve a happy ending just once.
And for once, I didn't mean it like that.
And he's like, and Murdoch says, I've never been happier to be blind. And then it's awesome because it goes back to Ben Urich. He's like, my name is Ben Urich and I'm a reporter. I've been writing about crime in New York City since the Bananas. But this is one of the odder stories that come across my desk. Marvin and his laptop made it into court. ADA Murdoch handed the gangs their butts. The mobsters are in jail awaiting appeal. Nobody's going to hear from Marvin again. He made it into witness protection program. You'll get used to the ketchup on egg noodles, Marvin. I love it because every time I hear this, I think of like this LA noir like type music in the background, even though like obviously Ben Urich's not like that. But I mean, like, it's just he has this juicy story now, and after on the last page it says, Rob, you're late. So this is this guy bitching at someone.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know who Rob is.
Yeah,
I don't know either.
I don't think that has anything to do with anything for some reason.
I think it's the environment that he's in, because if you see like how busy the whole office is, and he's just sitting there. He's like, I've seen a lot of strange stuff, headless bodies and topless bars. He's like, I pride myself on being able to find the hook to make a story clear and relatable. And he ends up deleting the story, this whole story.
Which, this is a blatant reference to the Deadpool, or Daredevil movie.
Yeah.
Because at the very end of that movie, he's going through basically this entire same situation that he's going through in the end of this book. And then he ends up deleting the whole expose about Matt Murdock being Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
It's that panel right there is the exact thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I love it, because he says, I pride myself on being able to find the hook to make a story clear and relatable. After he deletes it, he says, but not this time. My name is Ben Urich, and I'm a reporter who's going home sick for the day, and he runs out. And that was the end of it. And then you see Deadpool number 14.
Alright, personally, I could have done without this issue. It's a one-shot story, and it's not bad. I was entertained, I laughed during it, but it's $10. And
that's what threw a lot of people off.
I was telling you about this earlier. Since I started reading Deadpool, I stopped after the death of Deadpool, and then I skipped the first 7 issues of this new run, and came back on the 7th issue of with the 25th anniversary sized issue. So the last issue I had read was $10. The Death of Deadpool, huge disappointment, gigantic disappointment. Then the next issue I would read would be $10 because it's the 25th anniversary, and it was okay. It was a bunch of collected Deadpool stories, so more worth it for me than this was.
Yeah.
Because it was 25th anniversary, fine. Then every other issue's been regular price, and then now this is the 3rd time I've spent $10 on Deadpool, and I can't think of a single book that I have bought in between then and now that has been $10 other than Deadpool, and I'm getting a little sick of it. Like,
I feel like it's a good book. You should read it, but I wouldn't necessarily buy it. There's plenty of things online you could read it. I think you should read it, but that's $10.
If
I don't
you
think
can
it was
find
really
a way to
worth
read
$10.
it without spending money on it, absolutely. It's fun enough
There's
to know the story, but
if I hadn't been able to trade something at the comic shop to get my copy, I probably wouldn't have.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a website that I go to personally, and it's readcomics.net. Not sponsored by it, or not sponsored by it.
Not sponsored by it, and if it's illegal...
it's not illegal either.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not illegal.
Okay, I'm going to take your word for
it. It's
a
.net site.
Yeah.
It's a .net?
It's .net. Readcomics.net.
Okay.
It's not illegal, because if I'm going to go through that much trouble, I might as well just buy it. But it's not illegal, and if you really want to read these comics, but just don't have the funds or can't find the time to buy it, I would go there.
Yeah.
By all means, support your local comic shops whenever you can.
Definitely.
But
I wouldn't pay $10 for this comic book.
It's not really so much of a this situation isn't so much of a support your local comic shop. It's a
$10 Deadpool.
$10? No.
Yeah.
Right.
It's worth free. Read it.
Condense it a little bit, cut out some of the unnecessary banter, and they could have just made it like a $6 Deadpool issue.
See,
yeah,
I don't think that this should have been Deadpool issue 13.
Yeah.
This should have been
a one shot.
It should have been a one shot.
Yeah.
And it should have been not even Deadpool 13.1 or anything like that, but have this separated by 2 weeks. Give us the initial issue and then the Daredevil issue which came next.
Well,
Then the following week put out the Power Man Iron Fist, Point One,
they've
whatever.
got so much crossover stuff going on already that I think that maybe they were trying to avoid that.
Well, look at what they're doing with Amazing Spider-Man with Civil War. They're doing a Amazing Spider-Man Civil War book that is separate from the Amazing Spider-Man.
Well, there's Amazing Spider-Man, there's the Amazing Spider-Man point issues, which are following the Amazing Grace storyline.
Yeah.
Then there's the 4-part Amazing Spider-Man Civil War 2 issue. That's what I'm saying, though. They've got this going on with so many other things that maybe they were trying to avoid doing it again. And because Deadpool's not the most ceremonious of superheroes, it's not so far-fetched to unceremoniously tie this book into other books.
Yeah, I can see that.
But ultimately, it's just a way
they should
to
have
get
split
our
it
money.
up.
Yeah, it's just a way to get our money.
I'm going to give it 3 chimichangas out of 5.
But the other thing is, if you look at it,
$3.50.
you got 4 books for $10, which makes them $2.50 instead of the normal 4.
Normally, you'd be able to get about 3.
So,
well, with Marvel, you'd be able to get about 2 within the $10 price range.
Yeah.
So you got double. Double your money.
You got a bargain getting 4 comics for 10.
And it takes an hour, like 45 minutes to an hour to read. So it is about the same as reading 4 comics. Okay, so we're going to who started us off on our single books last time?
Wasn't it Bobb?
I think it was Bobb.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go with yours first, and then we'll go around the table.
Okay. So I'm going to be talking about the new issue of Detective Comics, where it picks back up with the traditional numbering of 934. Not quite as high as Action Comics, which is at what, 950 something?
Yeah, 957 is Action Comics. What I'm a little bummed about is that they're going to take it to issue 1000, but it's going to take like 2 or 3 years to get there.
If we get 2 issues a month,
that's
24.
66. That's 66 issues.
Yeah, so 24, 40. Yeah, it's going to take like 2.5 years for Detective to hit 1000. But you know it will.
Oh, yeah. They've got to take it to it. They're so close.
Okay, so I really enjoyed this. I think this is the first DC book I've talked about on the podcast, actually. Like, that's how much this caught my attention. We start out in the book, it's Gotham City, 2 days ago. And we see Azrael standing on a roof. Someone telling him it's over. Azrael looking up at him. And, like, I think this is a really sick-looking Azrael, too. Mm-hmm. He's like, do you expect me to run? And you see what looks like Batman looking down at him. He's like, no. And he kicks him through the glass of this, like they're at a cathedral. And knocks him down and starts, like, beating him around. Some smoke bombs are thrown. He's like, smoke to hide in, you coward. I'm not going to do what you want me to. I answer to a higher power. The figure looks at him and says, well, then let's send you on your way to meet him. And so they fight hand to hand, and Azrael gets the shit shocked out of him. Batman turns around. He gets a message saying, incoming. And then you actually see the real Batman coming in through the broken glass. So whoever that figure was isn't Batman.
Yeah.
He has Alfred run a scan on the building. There's no one there. So the two, Azrael and that figure, have disappeared. And he's saying throws a batarang, and it smashes this little drone that was flying in the air monitoring Batman. And he goes over to Azrael. He's like, who did this? And Azrael looks up at him. You did. And someone in the background says, heh. Like, just a little chuckle. So we pan then to Batwoman, which this is... Which Batwoman is this? I can't remember. The redheaded Batwoman.
Her last name's Kane.
Yeah, Cassandra Cain?
No, it's not Cassandra Cain, because that was Batgirl.
Yeah.
Early 2000s.
But anyway, we see the redheaded Batwoman, the lesbian Batwoman.
Yeah. Yay!
Swinging through the air, talking to her dad on comms. He's wanting her to come in, work for them and all that.
Yeah, well, they had been, when she first started out, he was her Alfred. More or less. Yeah, he was the guy running the tech for her. And they had a falling out due to some information that you'll have to read Batwoman Volume 1 and Volume 2 for.
Yeah, because it even says here, he's talking to her. He says, I know we've had a rough patch, but enough is enough. Yeah. He's trying to get her to come home and work for, I think, the police, or work with the police department, it seems.
No, I think he just wants her to work with him again. He's military.
That's what it is.
He's military. But yeah, if you're unfamiliar with this Batwoman, definitely check out the
She's a badass.
She's great. Yeah.
But and then you see the same little drone that was monitoring Batman is also monitoring her, or the same kind. Mm-hmm. So she's apparently finishing up her night. She goes home, hangs up her suit. She's like, Dad. And he interrupts, saying, you became Batwoman because you wanted to serve. It's about damn time you figured out what that meant.
He just keeps monologuing.
Yeah. He's just kind of like laying in her. He's like, you need to do something more. You need to be more. You need to do more than what you're doing. So she just kind of hangs up on him. And so she's walking through her apartment. She's like, I know you're there. I can feel you watching. And she flips Batman, and Batman does another flip over her little, like, island bar thing in her apartment. He's like, she says, I promise you picked the wrong apartment. He's like, no, I didn't. She's like, Batman, what are you doing here? And he brought the drone. He wants her to look at it. She asks what it is. He says, it's a mystery. So, detective work already coming into play.
Can you guess who? It's a mystery.
Oh my god.
So we have Batman explaining to Batwoman that he found this monitoring Azrael, telling her a bit about Azrael. He was a guy who was trying to redeem himself. He suffers from paranoia, but he wouldn't do something like what appeared to have happened that night. Mm-hmm. She tells him it's a drone, and that she's surprised that something that sophisticated is that small, and that it's like 10 years ahead of any kind of technology the government has. He's going on to tell her it's a piece of a swarm. So there's a bunch of these little drones out there. She asks, why are you telling me this? And Batman's like, I wasn't the only one they were watching. Someone's making plans in Gotham, and big ones, and they need to start preparing now to start training the next generation of heroes for the city. And that got me kind of excited. I'm like, they're going to build a little bat army?
Did you read Batman Rebirth?
I have not read that yet.
Batman Rebirth, you should have read this before, or you should have read that before this, because he makes reference, I think, in on this page about how he's already started with one. What's the black kid's name who was leading the Red Robins?
Oh, yeah.
Or not the Red Robins, but the Robins.
The Robins. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
He has recruited him, and in that issue, he gives him some sort of, like, yellow motorcycle outfit type
That doesn't
situation.
come up in this issue.
Well, he says that I've already started with one, and that's who he's talking about.
Yeah.
And it happens in
So he's like, I know that I can trust you with the job of making this team better, because we're family. Kate,
yeah.
I may not be a Kane, but my mother was. She's like, damn it, Bruce, I've been waiting for you to admit it for the last year and a half.
And this bothers me. This right here bothers me. I'm like, because he has had limited interaction with her in the past. Like, I mean, it's not like they're complete strangers. I mean, they've fought side by side before, but and I know that they're family and all that. But what bothers me is that she's like, I've been waiting for you to. No, she's great. She's awesome. She's cool, and I love her stories. But she's not that good. She's not that good. She didn't know that was Bruce.
Her justification for this, when he asked how, is like, come on. We're cousins.
Yeah, that's so cheap.
I'm
like so far, this is the only thing out of Rebirth I've had a problem with. But it's so minuscule, and it gets us to a cooler story. So.
Yeah.
All right.
So she asked them, who are the new recruits? And then we have like 8 pages of ads.
This is also bothering because look, you've got the really, really, really cool Rebirth ad here. Then you go on so they can explain everything going on with Superman, which actually sold me on Superwoman. Then you've got the
Overwatch
ad, 3-page Overwatch
another
ad,
Overwatch ad,
another Superman fucking ad,
and then another Overwatch ad.
Then we get back to it, and it's happened in every single Rebirth issue so far.
They're kind of like just packing all the ads into one place.
Yeah, it makes me feel like I'm not getting a complete. So, because this thing is also rife with other Rebirth ads.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I'm getting a whole story.
We pan over to a warehouse that some guys are trying to rob. The cops are outside. They're like, this was supposed to be a foolproof plan. And from up above them, you see it's almost like someone broke into your phone, figured out your whole plan, and tipped off the cops. And she's like, and then it pans to her, and she's like, whoops. So this is spoiler. Stephanie Brown, daughter of a criminal genius clue master.
I don't know if it applies to the New 52 continuity, but I know pre-New 52 she was previously Batgirl.
I don't know. That hasn't been brought up yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. But yeah, pre-Flashpoint.
Yeah, like it says that she's been trained by Catwoman, raised by two geniuses.
Yeah, it would have mentioned
he's underestimated her before. Yeah. So like there's no mention of her being Batwoman, but it does go to mention Batgirl. Yeah. But it says like she's smart and she's got skills. They just need to be refined.
Yeah, they would have mentioned it if that continuity was fine.
Yeah. So these guys start shooting at her. Someone taps one of the guys on the shore and says, "Hey, buddy, heads up." And it's Tim Drake. Red Robin hitting the guy in the head with his staff, which happens to be the next recruit who Batman explains is going to be the lieutenant of this operation, which I find really cool. That Red Robin gets a special high standing place. Yeah. So Robin and Spoiler are going back and forth. Robin's like, you should have told me when you were going to target A-list villains. She's like, it's not that big of a deal. He's like, this is the Penguin. Like, you realize he's killed people for misplacing $50, right? So, and then you see down here, they're also being watched by one of these drones. Tim's talking about how he got a letter, and Spoiler's like, we should celebrate. And he's like, I don't know what to do about this. And I don't know what this letter is. Like, it doesn't tell you anything about what this letter is. Yeah. And then from the background, you say, don't worry, soldier, we've got a plan for you. And it's Batman and Batwoman there to recruit them.
Maybe he got accepted to some sort of college or school.
That's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
He got, like, a college acceptance letter or just something
that would take him away.
Not crime fighter related.
Which would give him a source point of contention.
Yeah.
For like later.
Right. Yeah. Did he make the right choice? Yeah. So then we go to the Cauldron, where these guys are about to ship out a bunch of kids to people that have bought them, and down drops a character that they call the Orphan. This is Cassandra Cain.
Yeah. The
Orphan. She was engineered by her father to be a weapon. And Batman goes to say she might be the most dangerous fighter I've ever seen in action, but with a little help, we can kind of make her a weapon of justice, essentially. Yeah. And so she's like slinging these guys around, saving these kids. And she's, it looks like she's about to deliver a killing blow onto one of these guys. And from up in the rafters, Batwoman and Batman are standing there and says, enough, Orphan, we've got work to do. So here's our third recruit.
Also a former Batgirl.
Yeah.
Like I said, that earlier.
Was she Black Bat? From Batman Incorporated? Or is that
I
not
never
a
read
thing
Batman
anymore?
Incorporated. And no, it's not. I don't think it is a thing anymore. I think it fell apart after he died.
Okay.
After the Endgame storyline. But I don't know if she was Black Bat, but she was the Batgirl. She basically looked like that, but with bat ears. And like she was the Batgirl with the mouthpiece covered.
Okay.
Yeah. Whole black mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
This part, it kind of came out of nowhere, and it really kind of tugged at my heartstrings a little bit. We go there at Midtown, which is kind of weird seeing in a DC book. In the theater district, and all these people are screaming, running out of a theater, saying there's a monster, all this and that, and they're like, Batwoman and Batman are talking like, him? You're gonna trust him? He's like, but he's slippery. You can't trust him. He's like, I trust he wants to be more than what he is. So we go in and we see Clayface sitting in a theater watching a movie. And Clayface, Batman comes in, he's like, Clayface. Clayface is just like, damn it. Like, super bummed that Batman found him.
Yeah.
And he's like, they wouldn't shut up. I just wanted the place to myself, so I scared them a little. Didn't hurt anybody or nothing. And Batwoman was like, you broke out of Arkham for this? And Clayface goes on to tell him, he's like, see that handsome guy right there? The one with the blue eyes that look right into your soul? That's Basil Karlo. And at first, I'm starting to think that Clayface is kind of gay. Or, okay, Basil Karlo. And I'm thinking, okay, Clayface has a gay crush on someone or something. He's like, that's me. And he's like, there was talk that year that I could get into the race for the Oscars. No joke. Then the accident happened. And he looks back and he's like, look, Batman, it's one night. I just wanted one night to remember what I was before all of this, before I became some kind of monster. It's not a long movie, 84 minutes, with credits. Just let me be that person for a bit longer. I won't even put up a fight. And I read that, I'm like, oh,
please,
that's what sold me on the Clayface thing. Because when I first saw the artwork for the cover, and I noticed Clayface in the back, I was like, what the fuck? What the hell is that?
Yeah.
I was like, oh god, Detective's gonna be so terrible.
but then they do this.
And then I saw that, and I was like, wow.
So they're like, what if we can give you more? I think that there's more to you. I think you can be something different. I think you can be something better. And Clayface is like, what's the catch? Batwoman's like, the catch is you're going to have to do everything we say. So we go to a rooftop scene where we've got Tim Drake, we've got Orphan, we've got Spoiler and Clayface, and they're telling that, Batwoman's telling them, this is boot camp. You're going to listen to everything I say, because if you don't do this, you'll die. If you don't do this, or you don't want to listen, you'll die. And not just you, but innocent people. And so you're going to follow all of my orders. Is that understood? And who's that? Spoiler says, you're joking, right? And Batwoman, just with this big, almost Joker-like grin in this panel, because it's unusually big to me. She's like, welcome to boot camp. Keep up if you can. And I love it because they all use their grappling guns to start going through the city. And Clayface just kind of looks, just like, how the hell am I supposed to do that? And then Batwoman and Batman are like, Batwoman's like, there's something you're not telling me. You're afraid. You wouldn't do something like this unless you were afraid. What aren't you telling me? For now, I'll play along, but if there's things I need to know, you need to tell me. I'm your partner. And so we see another one of these little drones, and it's like, he really thinks his little team can fight back, doesn't he? And on the next page it says, let's see how they stand up against an army. And it says up at the top, Rise of the Batmen Part 1. And all you see are these gun-toting figures with...
kind of like Arkham Knight.
Yeah, almost Arkham
costumes.
Knight, Batman-esque masks and army gear and all that on. So that's who that was that attacked Azrael at the beginning.
Just
was one of these soldiers. And then of course, we have 50,000.
Nice little tribute to
Darwin Cook, which I like that.
That was really great, and that's been in a couple different issues.
Yeah.
So
this is probably the first real issue of Detective Comics that I've read, and I loved it. This is definitely going to be one that I'm going to pick up at least through this arc and see how the next one does.
It's got an underlining story, and I'm okay with that. But I do hope that they get back to a situation where they're like villain of the week. type stuff. Because I've been jonesing for that for a while. From anything like Spider-Man or Superman, just someone get back to doing that.
Well, that's kind of what Spidey does.
Yeah, but
it's more
of a children's book.
It's got a good mix of both kid and adult.
Yeah.
I guess relatable themes, but it is geared more towards kids. But you're right, we don't really have here's a book, it's one story.
Yeah.
Next week's going to be a completely different story. Pick and choose.
Yeah, you can't go to the Batman book and be like, yeah, this week is fighting Mad Hatter. Enjoy. Maybe you'll start reading them. No, it's like, well, this is part 6 in a 20-part story. If you want to spend about $40 or $50, you could probably catch up because it's Batman.
Right.
Hence why you should go to readcomics.net. Still not sponsored.
Readcomics.net.
But I'm just saying, you can catch up on stuff.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I like hard copy. But
I like hard copy more, but if I have to
afford it,
it's like
we're gonna read something on Jeff.
It's like the great Stan Lee once said: "Comics are like booze. Looking at them on a screen is nice, but I'd rather hold one in my hand."
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
That is my favorite
But a lot of people
quote.
don't have a weekly budget to go and buy comic books. I don't.
While we're on the trail of DC Universe Rebirth, let's go ahead and do yours next, Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is weird. I'm doing DC, you're doing Marvel.
Yeah.
This is
usually
this is a
the
weird
I don't
one.
like this, but no. Alright, I'm doing Wonder Woman Rebirth, which is it was pretty amazing. I've always been a big fan of Wonder Woman. And what I like most about like this comic book before we start into it, it's about that of course Rebirth, they tell that story again, but it was just the way that they tell it. And I'll definitely explain.
Another thing I want to point out, this is actually written by Greg Rucka. And if you were paying attention to the road to Force Awakens, he actually he co-writes one of them and then wrote 2 of the 4 novels that lead to The Force Awakens. Some of the fill-in stuff, just side stories with Luke, Han, Leia, and all that. Mm-hmm. And they're really great, which is why I was interested in this book to begin with, because Greg Rucka wrote it.
It starts off with the first panel, Wonder Woman's like inner thoughts. A lot of this is like a lot of the beginning is a lot of her inner it's inner battle. It says something's happening in my memory. The story keeps changing, and then it goes to literally backstory. So it talks about the Queen of the Amazons wished for a daughter until she was sure her heart would shatter from the want of a child. And of course, the gods answered, and she made this baby. The baby girl made it out of clay and sand, and they told her that was going to happen and that she would be made real by their will.
I'm a real boy.
But see, throughout this, you're seeing her with the black strip, and it's her commenting. So you see this big, huge black strip, and it says "or." That's all it says. And and then it goes on.
Okay.
It says the Queen of the Amazons fell in love, and the man she chose was worthy of her heart, her equal on the field of battle, and off it as well.
So she doesn't really know her
She's remembering the variety.
She can't remember. Her life is so scattered right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you also got to think things are in flux with whatever's going down from Rebirth. We don't know exactly yet, but
it says, and he was not a man at all, but in truth was the ruler of Olympus. So the mother of the Queen of the Amazons and Zeus. And then the queen came to be with child, and then the black strip comes back and says, or children. And it never talks about it again. It just says, or children. And it says,
well, that's
and into paradise.
From the Dark Side War, where it's revealed that she has a brother. And isn't that brother supposed to be like Dark Side or something?
No.
No, not Dark Side.
I didn't quite read it. This is where we need Bob.
True.
Bob switched to Dark Side War, and he was talking about how they had Wonder Woman had a twin brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I just remember seeing that one panel where the baby's held up and it's got like Darkseid's eyes.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay.
And so the next panel after that says, and into paradise there was born a daughter, and the queen named the princess Diana. So it doesn't say anything else about the brother. Nothing else. Just And the world, never having seen her like before, called her Wonder Woman. And that's where it...
Wow, that is such a great page where she's over top of what I assume is a hooker or a stripper.
Yeah, she's saving her. And that's where one second.
But she's using her gauntlets, as she do. But she's also getting hit with these bullets, because you almost never see her actually get hit with firepower.
But you see it.
She's as strong as her skin is unbreakable like Superman.
So if you guys were listening, as you can see, that she's getting hit. But, sorry.
As you see here.
That was mean. I'm sorry. Buy the book. Anyways.
I haven't got to read this yet, so I'm enjoying it along with you.
I really did like this. Yeah. And so on the ground on this scene, this is her, and she has her gauntlets, and she's getting shot at.
Thing.
And there is what seems to be a scantily clad woman lying on the ground, looking terrified. But she's still in her mind. Like, there's no dialogue in any of these. It's just, like, little squares on the top of the comic book.
Internal monologue.
Yeah, internal monologue the entire time. It says, I've been called so many things by so many people. Some flatter, many insult, few are accurate. Wonder Woman. I remember believing that wonder meant awe. That's the name they gave me. The name they gave me spoke of admiration. Perhaps it did once, but the story keeps changing. That's not what they mean when they call me Wonder. And so at this part, the cops are there now. All the guys in the suits are being taken to jail. And Wonder Woman told the scantily clad woman beforehand to go back inside. And it says, not anymore, perhaps not ever. It's their word, not mine. They wonder, what is that? How can such a woman exist? Who is she? The truth is, I no longer know. The truth matters. Or I think it does. Or perhaps it did once and does no longer. Now, at this part, she gets caught on camera leaving. So she's in the air and she gets caught leaving during this internal monologue. So right now she's at home. She flies back to her home. She lays her lasso on the chair, and she stares at Ares' helmet, and she's looking at her reflection in it, and she's like, talking about the truth matters, or I think it does, or perhaps it did once, and does no longer, or perhaps it never did. But that seems wrong. It should matter. It should matter a great deal, or perhaps it shouldn't. The story keeps changing, and that's something that's like. It's been literally a reoccurring, sentence. The story keeps changing. It's like, this is the helm of the god of war, worn by Ares, won by me. I think I am the god of war. And then she puts it on. It says, yet I think that cannot be true. War, the first casualty of war, is truth. And so she's looking in the mirror with this helmet on. And it's beautiful. The artwork's beautiful. So you get to see more backstory, and how she was chosen to fight Ares in the first place. So it says, once a daughter was born to the queen of the Amazons, and as the Amazons did not age, she was a daughter of them all. They loved her and taught her all they knew, sharing their knowledge and wisdom. She knew she was different, but that was not cause for shame but celebration. Or, she was but one child among many, yet viewed with suspicion and scorn, mocked for being less than her sisters, called unnatural, of no mother, and made from clay. She knew she was different, and was made ashamed, and she did not believe her home was paradise. So right now it's going back through to her as a young girl. Because like you say, they don't age unless they leave. And then paradise was breached for the first time in millennia. A dying sailor brought by the gods to their shores. At this part, the horse's backstory. But a sailor washes up on the shores, and he has a message that Ares is going to break his chains to unleash madness upon all the world. And the walls of paradise will crumble, and the Amazons will crumble, and they'll drown in the god of war's unending frenzy for blood. So the queen heard the message, she understood it, and she answered. I can never say her name. Save the life of... No, it's the Themyscira?
Themyscira?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was like, I hate it. Anyways.
Wait, is that a person's name? Because Themyscira is...
Yeah, I just can't say it.
Yeah,
I can't say it. I can't say
the
the name
because that's where
to
they're
save
from.
my life. Can't say the name. But they would choose a champion to return the sailor home, to fight alongside the world of men, and end the madness of Ares. So, of course, they have to, in order for that, if they leave, they sacrifice the eternal youth, the home. They can't go back. Once they leave, they can't come back, kind of thing. Or they're not allowed. And all the Amazons are like, yes, this is the sacrifice that I need to make. We'll all do it. And it says, not one of the Amazons hesitated for a moment to make the sacrifice, or perhaps one did. Queen didn't want Diana to go through it because she's always wanted that daughter. And so she said, nope, she's not allowed. You're not allowed to do the trials. She's the only one that wasn't allowed to do the trials. So, of course, she did the trials. Because, to be fair, she's a teenage daughter who's like, her mom's like, hey, you're not allowed, I free you to stay in your room, you're not allowed to do this. And so, of course, she's going to do the opposite.
I do what I want.
Mm-hmm. So the princess obviously proved herself over everyone. Ended up being the champion, left her home, believing she could never return. So the princess came to the world of men. It's funny because you see Diana walking on this beach, like a crowded beach of people, crowded, and you see her carrying this soldier, just walking up.
I refuse to believe that she walked through the ocean and that man lived.
I don't know. Hey, she's Wonder Woman, okay? She's wonderful.
She flew, but she got tired at that last second, so she just plopped down in the ocean for a quick dip.
And then it goes back to, like, the present time, and it says, and everything changed. Everything keeps changing. Like the story. No. My story. She takes the helmet off. She holds it in her hands, and then she crushes it. She said, I shouldn't have been able to do that. This is the helmet of a god, and as unbreakable as anything crafted by Hephaestus, as unbreakable as... And then she thinks about it, and she talks about her lasso as the golden perfect. And she just throws it, or leaves the helmet on the ground, the crushed helmet of Ares. And she reiterates, the first casualty of war is the truth. And the truth does matter. So she's starting to kind of like... It used to be the only thing that mattered. So she wraps it around her wrist. It's the lasso of truth. She wraps it around her wrist. And she says, who am I? And the lasso answers Wonder Woman. And it says, no more. You are Diana, princess, daughter of Hippolyta, 10th queen of the Amazons, is what the lasso says. She, and in her head, very well, what am I? And the lasso says, you are many to many, peacemaker and warfighter, supplicant, aspirant, penitent, the true friend, and the boon companion, the trusted soul, and the truth speaker. And then it says, and you have been deceived. So of course she's like, who? Who has done this? And why? And she's like, she takes the lasso off, goes to a mirror. Says, I'm a fool. I've been made a fool. And then she breaks the mirror. And what I think was so beautiful, this artwork, she breaks the mirror, and the shards of the mirror look like all of, like,
it is
her entire, like, story. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, the multitudes of her stories.
Yeah, multitudes of her stories. There's one right there, kissing
stuff.
Superman. I mean, there's so many, like, different...
We've got pre-Final Crisis situation
like,
here. This is, like,
so
Golden
many.
Age, Cheetah.
So many. Yeah. I love the artwork in this.
Yeah.
That's what
now,
captivated
a bulk
me.
of it is New 52 stuff, seemingly, but yeah, it's got some of the...
Which also gives us that reference of destroying everything that happened in the New 52.
Yeah.
Rebirth. It just stares at the broken mirrors, and the monologue continues again. It says, I cannot for the life of me think of where it went wrong. The moment when who I was and who I am became so terribly divided. The moment when I lost myself, the moment when I forgot who I was. But my vision is clearing. The hunter learns a lesson early, to follow the signs lest one become lost. She picks up the crown, her tiara. Then retrace your steps with care. And where you stepped wrong. Find where you stepped wrong. So she this is beautiful scene, this beautiful like panel where you see the crushed helmet of Ares and her setting up in her full gear.
Yeah.
Her like, full beautiful gear with her cape in her hand.
It's her old gear.
She's holding this like it really looked like charred, not just crushed, but It says find the source of the deception. It says Olympus now, and she just
teleport.
She's gone. So we get to Olympus. And there's no one around. And like it kind of looks like
it's been overgrown.
It's been overgrown with the
like it's been abandoned for a long time.
Yeah, she says like spotting a crack in an amphora or hearing a wrong note in a tune. And now I cannot help but see the flaws in the world around me. She shouts, "Host of Olympus, you see this creature, this bull-like creature, Minotaur.
Yeah.
I guess he's not like an actual Minotaur. It looks like he's one of those stone statues.
Yeah,
but
bronze,
I mean,
statue of a Minotaur.
See, Minotaurs are usually bigger though, aren't they?
He looks pretty damn tall there.
Maybe. Okay. Is this how you greet one of your own, or has that lie been laid bare too? So like, as soon as she gets there, she doesn't see anyone, but this Minotaur is starting to attack her now. So Hephaestus created these giant this giant Minotaur creature. So these ones are sentries without reason or thought. They can do only as they've been instructed, no more, no less, no remorse, nor hesitation, no regret, nor conscience, and they will never relent. So, like, she's fighting it. She's tying her lasso around the horns and, like, dragging it down. Then, to make things even worse, the story keeps changing, comes back again, and she's fighting more of these statues that have all come to life now. These sentries. Ain't that one a Cerberus-looking sentry? Dog.
And then there's a centaur.
Then there's a centaur.
It's basically all mythological creatures.
Yeah, they're all attacking her in this, like... Says the god of war is welcome to Olympus, or Olympus strives to murder the pretender, which I thought was a really strong sentence anyways. But when a lie is confronted, there are these are three choices. Admission, and thus honesty. Perpetuation, and thus feeble deceit. Or hostility, the child of fear. This lie is afraid. This is not Olympus. Change the story as much as you like. Whoever you are, you will not succeed. This lie is afraid of me. I will have the truth. And in her head, and that was what she said, and then in the head it says, this should be. And that was and this is the end. And you don't see.
So it kind of goes through, like, a little bit of an introduction to her backstory, while at the same time acknowledging that her backstory may or may not be what it is.
Because she knows, there's a story that she knows, there's a story that she thinks is true, but not sure, and there's this whole thing she's like,
So more or less the two people being,
the story keeps changing.
Affected by the fact that the past, what was before pre-Flashpoint and what was the New 52 kind of colliding into each other. The two people being affected right now are Barry Allen and Wonder Woman. Superman is really just taking up the mantle of the old Superman right now, not really so much dealing with this, like...
And you can see that Olympus is, like, literally there's no Olympus, like, so everything's, like, nothing's the same, and that's why the story keeps changing. Is that sentence that keeps going throughout the entire thing.
Batman's just kind of barely dealing with the letter thing so far, but yeah, okay. So
it's exciting,
Wonder Woman's
and
going to be kind of a key in this whole rebirth situation.
Yeah. It's weird because on the bottom it says
which makes sense.
On the bottom it says follow Wonder Woman in two alternating stories as she untangles the mysteries of her present and her past.
Well, she's got 2 books coming out?
Yeah, it says 2 alternating stories. So
oh, okay.
So and it says in 2 weeks, Wonder Woman #1, the lies.
Because she's supposed to be a 2-monthly issue as well. So, like, the first issue of the month is probably going to be the one story, and the second issue of the month will probably be the other.
That's cool.
Yeah, I wonder if the other guys are going to do that.
It said in 2 weeks, Wonder Woman #1, the lies, begins. And it says, and on sale July 13th, Wonder Woman #2, the start of year 1.
Yeah.
So, there's going to be 2 more books coming out, which I'll be reading and talking about.
So that's kind of cool. That Wonder Woman is a pivotal thing, which makes sense.
It does make sense.
We were talking about last podcast about how basically we all assume Dr. Manhattan is the god of this universe.
Yeah.
Her being, closely connected to the gods, or at least the gods of Olympus, makes her a pretty good bridge.
Yeah.
So yeah, all right, cool. Wonder Woman.
Amazing.
I still don't know if I'm gonna pick up the book though. I don't know if I'm gonna start reading it.
You don't want to pick it up, but you want to read it.
Yeah. It all comes back to that website.
Go to readcomics.net, not sponsored.
All right, guys. I'm gonna get through a little thing that Marvel's kind of glancing over right now. Just a little splash in their pool. You might have heard of it, maybe not. It's called Civil War 2, #1.
What is that?
Yeah, I don't know. So
is that like Marvel's new indie line or something?
I think it's like a mini series. It's a little off to the side, like 4-page thing. But yeah, Civil War 2, big old event that's happening in Marvel right now. And the first thing I want to say about this book is that I love that it's not a hardcover, but it's got like what would you call that? Photo paper?
That's
like
it's
paper.
more like cardstock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cardstock.
Yeah.
That's that, right? Then you open it up and it says it's got just this picture of Iron Man, protect the future, and it's protecting just a regular paper, flimsy paper cover. So that's really cool that they went that extra mile. I don't know if they're going to do it with the other issues, but hey, if it ends at issue 1, that's still pretty cool. But we open up to Columbus. I'm not sure if it's Columbus, Ohio, or another place, but we're in Columbus, and a man is running through the woods, screaming for something to stop, when all of a sudden another speech bubble off panel comes up and says, Ulysses. This is coming from, what is her name? Medusa, yes. Leader of the Inhumans and the other Inhumans surrounding her. Oh, cool. They say that they can help them and that what's happening to them is a good thing. We cut to Manhattan weeks later from this, and Iron Man is recovering from some sort of shock or explosion, it seems, that's happening. Miles Morales is in the background getting up, and Cap is in front of them all. And they're commenting on what just happened and that it's pretty big.
It's Sam Wilson Cap, not Steve Rogers.
Oh yeah, that's right. We don't have to get used to two Captain Americas now. But yeah, Sam Wilson Cap, previously the Falcon. Spider-Man's talking about how everything feels crazy. It couldn't just be him. Cap backs him up on that. Miss Marvel is there wondering if their plan is going to work, which we haven't found out about. And Nova says, "What makes you think that it won't?" We cut back to then we cut to this 2-page spread of just this weird. I don't even know what that is.
That almost looks like Galactus.
Some
but
huge,
like almost like a Red Lantern Galactus.
Like a Red Lantern samurai-esque Galactus thing with multiple little cronies.
Reminds me of that cartoon show with the samurai.
Samurai Jack.
Samurai Jack. Yeah.
What was it? Not Dormammu, because that's a character.
It kind of reminds me of that guy. I know you knew.
Yeah. The bad guy from Samurai Jack. But anyways, some badass shit's going down, and this whole city block has just been decimated, just covered in dust and destruction, and the Avengers. I'm assuming this is the Avengers team of the books right now.
I think this is the new Avengers.
I'm not reading that book, so I'm not sure. But the Avengers are, standing in their pose line, ready to attack. And Iron Man ensures them that they have to stick to the plan. When all of a sudden you hear boom, and Spider-Man's like, "Oh my God, what is that?" Tony tells him that that's a glorious sound of a gorgeous sound of a sonic boom and a simultaneous thunderclap. That means Thor is here. And so we see
I like how they spell Thor like that.
Well, they always do that. Whenever they announce a character's presence, it's always their title from their book. I love that. So Lady Thor shows up, and she's not alone. We've got this huge one-page spread here of just the Inhumans are with her, the X-Men are with her, Old Man Logan, and
Alpha Flight,
Spider-Man. The Ultimates, Alpha Flight. Well, actually, not Alpha Flight. It's just
because that's Carol.
Yeah, but she's a part of the Ultimates. Yeah. Her.
I thought
Black
she led
Panther.
Alpha Flight.
Well, she leads Alpha Flight too, but she's a member of the Ultimates.
Oh,
as well. Okay. We've got War Machine, Deadpool's there. Steve Rogers kept Squirrel Girl.
Cable.
Is that Cable?
It
does kind of look like Cable. Yeah. I want to know what Hawkeye is in this too, but he's all the way at the top, and if anyone looks like they're flying, it looks like Hawkeye is flying, and no.
Oh, and then look, who's that? Because that kind of looks like Hawkeye's symbol on his chest. That's Angel. That's Hulkling. That's Hulkling.
Oh, really? I don't
know. That must mean the Young Avengers are in there too.
Yeah. Well, that would explain Squirrel Girl.
Yeah.
And Quicksilver.
Wow.
Okay, yeah, and they jump in, and then we get another one-page spread. These are abundant here, but they are fighting these Galactus crony guys, and it's just great. Iron Man's shooting one in the face. Wolverine's down here stabbing someone. But it's a big battle going on. All of a sudden, we've got Scarlet Witch, Hellstorm, Dr. Voodoo, Wiccan, Shaman, and the Magic. All sorcerers led by Doctor Strange who show up and are here to send this thing back to whatever dimension it was from.
I'm so happy that they're including magic. She's a very underappreciated hero.
Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, tells everyone to pull back. Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, and Miles Morales Spider-Man are all protecting random children. I guess the only bystanders were children, apparently. And all these magicians send this guy back to wherever he came from. Afterwards, they're all congratulating themselves, saying like, "Hey, you know, we got to work with cleanup though, and all that stuff." But it worked, you know. Hey, and then Tony says, "The skies are clear." So Carol says, "Drinks on you then?" "Drinks are definitely on me," responds Iron Man. So we cut back to Iron Man. I don't know if this is, this is Stark Tower. And Iron Man's throwing a big party for all these people.
Like Iron Man does.
Yeah, like he do. Everyone's catching up and saying, "Oh, hey, you know, remember when we fought here, blah, blah, blah. Oh, how's it been?" All that good niceties stuff. And She-Hulk is wondering how they knew about that big creature, how they knew it was going to happen. So Carol takes her to the Inhumans, who take them to a back room, along with other Avengers and heroes, Spider-Man, Steve Rogers. They're all back there, and they reveal Ulysses and explain that he can see the future. He can see events before they happen. So they decide to enlist Jean Grey to try and help them understand how this works. She tells him that she's not going to hurt him. All he has to do is think about the event when he saw it the first time, and that way she'll be able to look around with him and tell them all what's going on. But for some reason, she can't access his mind at all. And he asks if it's a bad thing, but they don't really know. At this point, Carol Danvers attempts to recruit him to the Ultimates, which Tony has a problem with. And he goes on to explain that it's not prejudice against the Inhumans, which has been a big theme in the Marvel Universe right now, is that they're basically under the same fire mutants were years ago. But he's asking about the morality of the entire thing. His problem is that what if Captain Marvel is in one of these visions, and she's the one who's raining hell down on the world? Are they supposed to lock her up before she's done anything, before she's truly a villain, or is that ethical? You know, and there's a big back and forth where they argue their points, and then he's talking about how the Inhumans trained him. Basically, Tony continues to go on and ends up pissing everyone off.
Like he do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I love this because while he's walking out of the room telling everyone to enjoy themselves at the party, Ulysses, the guy who can see the future, is like, "Wow, Tony Stark," because he's in awe. He just got to meet Iron Man. And Spider-Man's got his mask up far enough for his mouth to be exposed, and he's eating a cookie. And he's like, "Yeah, it's exciting." Then you get over it. We cut to the New Atlantean, which I believe is where the Inhumans are set up. And he does end up getting another vision until Medusa comes in to console him. Cut again to Tony Stark's laboratory, where Tony is, I believe, working on...
Friday he's talking to.
Yeah, he's talking to Friday, his AI program. And I'm not sure what he's working on. He's got his hands up, but we don't see any holograms around him or anything. He's moving his hands around like he's working on something, but they're not showing us if he is. When Mary Jane Watson, his new assistant, comes in and tells him that there's something going down and that it's Rhodey. Now, this is where the Free Comic Book Day issue comes in, where the vision that Ulysses had was that Thanos was attacking, and it was a little split second. They didn't really have too much time to plan for it, so they kind of just hit it. Rhodey was there, although he's not a part of the Ultimates team. He was visiting Carol Danvers, who is his girlfriend. So Tony comes to the Triskelion, which is the headquarters of the Ultimates, and he comes down like a fucking anvil, and demands to know where is he. He's walked into a room where there is a body under a sheet, blood seeping through, and War Machine's armor is destroyed on a table nearby. While Tony tries to figure out, like, how could anyone destroy this? Who could have destroyed this armor? And blah blah blah. He immediately wants to find Carol. He wants to know where Carol is, and he's starting to walk through the halls, screaming at the top of his lungs, trying to find her. And someone tells him that she's right behind him. So he goes through a curtain, the curtain that he's pointed towards, and it is a hospital bedroom where She-Hulk is laying in a coma, hooked up to monitors. And Carol explains that they don't know if she'll ever walk again, and that the only Gamma specialist they know of is Bruce Banner, and they don't know where he is. Tony asks what happened. She explains the events of the Free Comic Book Day issue where they fought Thanos, and things went wrong, and explains how that happened, and he's pissed because he doesn't understand why he was there. He's not part of her team, and eventually he goes on to say, "You killed my best friend," and Black Panther then says, "Tony," he's like, "You killed him as good as if you did it with your own hands." Which she tells him he was a soldier, he went into battle, and you're not the only one who loved him. Tony's losing his shit. They're going back and forth, and Tony's just he really is being unreasonable out of grief. He is so much so that he doesn't even want her to say his name. As she tells him that I love you, Tony, and I am truly sorry. At which point Tony asks where Thanos is. They tell him they have him down below in a cell. And Tony walks off and says that he's going to make sure that they never play God again. As Carol, Captain Marvel, is about to follow after him, She-Hulk grabs her hand and says, "Fight for it." That's all she says, is fight for it. It's our future, Carol, not his. Fight for it. And that's all she says. We don't know who she's referring to specifically. Maybe it's Iron Man, but there could be an underlining thing here. But then we see the heart monitor, and it flatlines. At which point, all of the doctors, S.H.I.E.L.D. doctors, start coming in, trying to help out. They're pushing Captain Marvel back to the back of the room, talking about, get the paddles. Well, what are the paddles going to do? We're all probably infected with gamma radiation at this point. And they're all like, damn it, where's Dr. Banner? The entire time, it's just got this sound effect of beep going across the bottom of each panel. And Captain Marvel is in the back crying, losing her shit. The last page we see is Iron Man seemingly flying up into the sky, and it says, "To be continued." This was such a great story. Artwork's great, blah, 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 blah. We get to see all these heroes. But, just as a story, the morality points that they make, Tony alone, just when he finds out about Rhodey's death, is just
the
so
raw
heart-wrenching.
emotion.
Yeah. I know I went through it as quickly as I could, but if you read it, it is just devastating. And then they lose She-Hulk. And just looking at that last panel on that page where Carol Danvers is crying got me choked up. I started to choke up when I saw that part. But yeah, kicking off this in a very intense way, I am so excited to see where Civil War goes. Who knows? It could all be downhill from here. But it is my not so expert opinion that you definitely jump on the Marvel bandwagon for this one. You don't have to read Amazing Spider-Man 4-part Civil War 2 series. You don't have to read the Road to Civil War issues. Just grab...
They're all little extra tie-ins that...
Exactly.
Just like last time, are like, you can read this. It gives you some extras outside of this main story.
Now,
but
last time, I think the only one that, really was crucial was the Spider-Man. But that was because of what it meant for, him to unmask himself.
Yeah.
Going through that
was
entire
a
story.
big thing.
Yeah, it was a huge deal. But yeah, I would say try to track down the Free Comic Book Day #0, but you don't need it. They do show panels. They talk about what
There's two different
happened.
things. There's the Free Comic Book Day prelude, and then there's Civil War II issue 0.
Oh, that is right. That's true. The prelude and issue 0. I can't even remember what happened in issue 0. This was so good that this like took precedent as the first issue for me. But yeah, such a great book. I cannot wait to get my hands on this next month's issue. Okay, so we have spent a lot of time on comic books today. Let's go ahead and jump into nope, yeah, it's comic book related. Let's talk about Injustice 2. Personally, I've been waiting for this game forever. I loved the first one, and it kicked off an entire separate universe.
Well, they even spawned its own comic series.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, it spawned its own Injustice. I think they're up to year 5 now.
Yeah,
year 5.
A whole comic series, and I kind of, because I haven't had the time to read them. I've got caught up with them through Comic Storian on YouTube, but I hope they go for year 2. Although the comics don't actually specifically follow the video game to a T. It's that universe. Yeah, they do use that heavily as a source point, so I'm hoping it'll be vice versa.
So does that mean we're going to get 5 Injustice games, or however many years of comics
they can keep making these as long as they want, because that was such a fun game. Not to mention all the add-ons and stuff that you could get for it. My favorite being Stephen Amell. You could get the Arrow costume from the show at the time, and Stephen Amell actually did the voice work just for that costume. You only hear Stephen Amell's voice when you put on that costume. It's great.
That's awesome.
It's really cool. What do you guys want from this game, though? I mean, it's basically your classic Mortal Kombat.
Is it true they're not doing fatalities?
Well, they didn't really do fatalities in the last one.
Well, there was a rumor. I know there was a rumor back in the day that they were gonna not fatality, but they were gonna like do a little more like
a finishing type cinematic.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. Well, I think we saw that gameplay trailer.
You
Yeah,
enter
they
a
did.
47-button combination.
I think they're going. Like, I don't care personally.
I think that proves...
that trailer is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
I can't wait to play the game.
I would like to see like specific interactions between different characters. Like you pair up.
That's right. You haven't played the game.
Yeah.
You haven't played the game.
Oh,
No, they
wow.
did that.
Do
They
they?
do that, yeah.
So like you play as Red Hood versus the Joker, and there's like different dialogue that happens.
Except for the Red
fight.
Hood's not in the game.
And didn't I kill you?
He needs to be in the
He
second
does
one.
need to be in the second one. But no, yeah, they do have specific interactions.
Do
Now,
they?
not every single character. Like if you put Lobo up against Aquaman, you know, they're just gonna say they're generic in.
Yeah, like specific
Start
things.
that
Like I said, Red Hood and Joker, there would be specific interactions.
Like Batman and
Nightwing
any of the Justice
and
League members
Batgirl.
will interact. Yeah.
Like that,
That'd be cool.
There would be some cool interaction there. Superman and Wonder Woman, like puts like some of the love interests against each other. You know, I'm sorry I have to do this.
Yeah,
things
and
like
they
that
did
would
that
be
in the
cool.
last game, and I guarantee they're going to bring it back for this game. Like, what's important, I think, is that they don't fuck with the formula. Like, they can add to it, and they can, like...
It's a good formula, though. They shouldn't...
I mean, maybe tweak it, because, yeah, I mean, it's upgraded from the PlayStation 4 wasn't even out when the first game came out, I don't think. So, like, it's good to upgrade it for the new system, but don't fuck with the formula, because what they had worked. Personally, I didn't care much for the little, like, what was it they called it in the first game? They're little side mission things. It's basically little challenges. It doesn't have any cinematics or anything. Nobody really says anything. You just put them in there, and it's like, make Superman break these 4 things, and it's like, and then it just speeds it up as you go along.
There was
I didn't care for those.
one of the newer Soul Calibur games. They changed it to where you actually have a story map to go through, and you fight different.
Well, yeah,
people
this did
based
that
on
too.
that.
There was a story mode, and then they had their little challenge missions and stuff. And then there was an online play mode, which I'm sure they'll bring that back too.
Oh yeah.
But we've already seen that Supergirl, the characters that are going to be new to this game, not from the first one, are so far Supergirl, Red Lantern, Atrocitus, Grodd, and Black Manta. And I think that's all that they've shown that was new.
Well, they showed the Arkham Knight.
Did they show the Arkham?
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing him.
Yeah, they.
When did they show Arkham?
Cause I saw the
my
mask
Lord.
come down, so and I got to think, I'm like,
No.
that's Arkham Knight.
That was just Batman's alternate costumes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of sad.
Because it looked like the Arkham
'Cause
Knight
in the first,
before like the face part comes
Yeah.
off and it's just the red dome.
Because in the first the teaser, I don't really know if it was so much a teaser, but the first trailer that came out, just the cinematic trailer, Batman gets into this armor suit, and it's basically the Batman Beyond suit. So I think armor is going to play heavily into this.
Was Batman Beyond in the first one?
I think there was a DLC for Batman Beyond suit.
I'd like to see that.
But yeah, no, I mean, they also had alternate costumes that
Yeah.
weren't necessarily a part of the storyline. So maybe Terry McGinnis might get involved in this,
That
but
would
I
be
doubt
cool.
it.
Like,
I hope so.
They don't
branching
really deal
out a
with
little
time
bit.
travel too much in the
No.
Injustice
Yeah.
I
comics.
kind of wish though.
But you know me, definitely want to see all the different Robins.
I love
It
Robin.
would be nice to have
I
a
love
multitude of them.
Robin.
Really, in the first one, you only get Damian. On a
Well,
technicality, you get Damian
whoops.
and you get Dick.
Is he as Nightwing though?
Yeah, he's as Nightwing, and then Damian is the Nightwing from the alternate universe, because that's what these games span. They span two different universes.
Okay.
It's a lot to explain. Play the game, dude. Play.
I'll see if I can find it. I wonder if they put
Yeah.
it out for Xbox One.
They should.
Yeah.
Yeah, there should be an
I'll see if I
Ultimate
can find
Edition
it.
for Xbox One. But yeah, play the game because you'll find out why
Okay.
Damian's the Nightwing of the other universe.
Huh.
It's a whole lot to go into, but yeah, no, I'm sure. I hope for an abundance of characters. Not that there were any shortage of characters in the last one, and we got a variety of people I didn't think we'd ever get to play as. Like you could play as Raven in that game. Raven was part of the story, so
Yeah,
so
they
I'm
haven't.
hoping, yeah, I'm hoping.
Nice.
Of course, Harley Quinn's gonna be in it, but who do you want to see in it? Who does everyone want to see in this?
I was really excited about Supergirl. Like,
Supergirl.
really super
Give me
excited.
some of the Young Justice people. Give me
Yeah.
Red Tornado. Give me give me like Aqualad, Miss Martian,
Okay.
Superboy. Like, give me a lot of the young
I want Jessica Jones.
I
in
Teen
it.
Titans.
I want Jessica
Young
Jones.
Justice.
I was just from Marvel.
I want Jessica,
Starfire.
I do. I want Jessica Jones from Marvel in there.
I think it's pipe dream on some of the Young Justice.
Yeah,
I want Beast Boy.
but see, that would be something they could incorporate, and it actually work out pretty cool. Is Beast Boy like you do a combo to turn you into this
An elephant stamp. It's something
Yeah.
cool. Beast Boy's pretty cool.
I personally
Who you
like
want?
whoever's in there. Regardless, I want tons of costumes. Like
Me
I'm
too.
really there were a lot in the last game, but I want more than that.
I want a Jurassic Park dinosaur to be.
I thought it was so cool because they like
Give me Moon Girl and Devilsaur.
Man of Steel
Really
had
though.
just come out around the time, so they released Man of Steel
Sailor Man.
skins for not just Superman, but Zod was a DLC character, and they had a Man of Steel skin for him.
I want Scooby Doo and the Wacky Racers.
Oh
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
They are.
It's all DC.
They are
Yankees.
published
Oh my
by
god,
DC
no!
now.
The Apocalypse,
Dr. Manhattan.
Scooby Doo
Mr.
Apocalypse characters.
That would be pretty crazy.
Really see that.
Wow. Who do I like?
The
Obviously,
comedian.
I want the.
Want the comedian.
You know what? No. Yes. Again, Rebirth. So
Yep.
fucking great.
I want
So great.
all of them.
And there's
I
this
want
whole
all of
Watchmen
Watchmen
universe
in
that's
there.
colliding into the DC universe. I would love to see
That-
Rorschach, comedian.
You know,
Matt-
if
Dr.
they don't
Manhattan.
do that on release, I could see that being a DLC.
Yeah, definitely
Once it
DLC.
all gets revealed
Absolutely.
and released,
Be smarter
that
for them
would
to do
definitely
DLC.
be like there would
More
be
money.
a Watchmen DLC for
I'd
it.
also like to see them
Please.
do something like DLC story packs. Like
Yes.
they didn't do it for the first one. You downloaded the character and then you could use that character, which is fine. But like Arkham Knight type stuff, where they had like 6 different story packs, and you could play as these characters.
Is Black Panther
The
gonna be in it?
Batgirl one was great.
Was it?
Black Panther's Marvel.
I
Stop
want
it.
it though so
Like-
bad.
Like I got I think
Hashtag,
about halfway
you know,
through Arkham
free Black
Knight
Panther.
before I got distracted.
Yeah.
And I need to go back because I saw they put out all the different character stories and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like...
Oh, there's so much. It's so good. Playing as Batgirl is so fun.
They should do Injustice, like, DC versus Marvel.
They should do that.
That used to be...
If you didn't hear her, because she got really low, she wants a DC Marvel
I get real shy when I
Injustice
talk
game.
about things that excite me.
But they should do that. I don't know, man. Like,
Capcom.
really, I want to see Metallo.
Yeah.
I've always been a fan of the Metallo villain. I wouldn't mind Cassandra Cain.
Yes.
Popping on in there.
As Orphan or as the...
Batgirl.
Yeah.
I want
I
Ares
prefer it.
God of War.
She'd probably be Orphan, though, because that's what she is in continuity
Give us one of each of the lanterns. Like, we've got Red Lantern and
Red
Atrocitus.
Lantern.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll have the Green Lantern.
Yeah.
I assume we'll get
Outlaw.
Sinestro.
If nothing else, at least, like, Jon Stewart. I think Jon Stewart is in the last game. But
Jon
give
Stewart
us
from The Daily
Kyle
Show?
Rayner. And give us Guy Gardner. Don't make him a part of the story. Just give us Guy Gardner, because I want to beat the shit out of him. I don't, like... Put Guy Gardner in there as a DLC, like, for $1.
Good idea.
For $1.
I want
and
Shazam in there. Shazam kick it down.
Make his voice really, like, hey guys, I'm Guy Gardner. I'm the best ever. No.
Can you
no,
have a pocket protector just cuz?
Then I kill him. I hate you, Guy Gardner.
Hashtag fuck
But
Guy
yeah,
Gardner.
no, I would like to see Guy Gardner in there because I want to beat him up. But yeah, like, really, honestly, like, most of the people I want, I know are gonna be in there. So, but like Pipe Dream, I want the Watchmen. So
That's what I want really bad.
Yeah, that's my top pick.
That's gonna be a DLC. I'm
You're
calling it.
calling it?
It's
I'm
smarter
calling
for
it.
them to do that. I mean,
We'll see.
they'll make them more
I
money in the
hope
long run.
It'll be a future DLC.
It'll be a now
it should
DLC.
be a future DLC story pack.
Yeah.
If you're listening to us, Warner Brothers, come on,
Come on.
WB Games,
We're
make it happen.
And sponsor us.
This podcast idea is my copyright. I will demand
Yeah.
royalties. Please.
I'm gonna steal the whole like DC Clue game. I think that's my idea now. So.
All right.
Don't take it.
But yeah, I got high hopes for it. I'm gonna get it. I'm probably gonna get the collector's edition like I got with the last one because that statue is the shit. If you haven't seen it, it's Wonder Woman about to hit, like, she's got her lasso around Batman's neck,
So
and
great.
she's about to hit him with Superman's Krypton pod that he came to Earth in. This is a pretty great statue. Anyways, moving on to our last topic that we got here. Ninja Turtles 2, Out of the Shadows. We all went and saw it so that we could all have an opinion on it. Bob went to see it too, although he is not here. What did Bob think about it? Just give us like his reactions after the movie.
He thought it was better than the first.
I agree.
He thought it was better.
Well,
obviously,
he
Bob's
also started
lost his
falling
mind
asleep
from
towards
working in
the
the
end.
heat.
Like, I liked it. It was... I especially enjoyed Leonardo a lot more because it wasn't Johnny Knoxville.
I didn't notice it was Johnny Knoxville till the end, though. And I think his voice was fine.
I enjoyed
Okay.
the inner turmoil between the turtles.
Yeah, I like that.
Because of that,
They focus more on
that
like
power struggle that we've grown to
no.
know and love.
Yeah.
But like the story itself was kind of meh.
It was rushed.
But the
Definitely.
like, yes, I enjoyed Bebop and Rocksteady.
I love Bebop and Rocksteady, but
I enjoyed the Turtles.
hate Krang.
Krang.
Hate it.
Okay, here was
Hated
my
it.
thing with Krang. Whenever Krang would talk, there were moments where he would have that spiked boy going through puberty moment when
Yeah.
he talked, but his voice was still too deep for my liking.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like,
We high five.
too deep for my liking. And just it was too...
He was too goofy. He was
He
too
was.
much of a cartoon character,
And,
which is
like,
saying
all the
something
time
because the
trying to
more
shove it back
enjoyable
in.
version is the cartoon character.
I
See,
know.
I know. I kind of know what Dave Green was going for, like the whole like
Alien.
the whole like 1980s like goofy one-liners and like things, but like with Crane that was not something you do. Plus, me and Vinny talked about this.
Yeah.
About, okay, Krang is a super, he's so intelligent.
Yeah.
He's a living brain.
Why didn't he make a robotic body he can fit into?
Yeah, exactly. What is with that joke? It doesn't make any sense.
That was not funny. It was not funny.
He was constantly like trying to just shove himself back into this little space.
He has that moment with the Shredder in the currently being constructed Technodrome. And, like, they have this back and forth, and you're like, oh, shit, Krang just put him in his place. And then it gets interrupted by that whole little scene where he's getting shoved, like, this way too long scene where he's getting shoved back.
It's like filler. It's like Family Guy filler.
Back into his robot body. Yeah.
It's Family Guy filler is what it is.
You had this really, like, it wasn't like, Oscar nominee type scene. You had this, like, poignant scene that got me into that moment, and then you just turned around and just destroyed it for a joke, for one line. I honestly believe that was for one line, "You idiot," which is like Krang's catchphrase from the 80s cartoon. Yeah, "You idiot," and that
I understand
was
the homage like taken. Like that was like he wanted to give a nod, and I
understand
but that was the worst way you could have done it.
Yeah, or to henchmen or something.
The body that he was always in was more of a
Sentinel from X-Men.
Yeah, it was very Sentinel-esque.
I mean,
this
that's
one,
fine.
like the head always seemed like it was under construction.
I didn't necessarily want to see a fucking 8-foot tall fat dude with his shirt off in like a.
I kind of wanted to see that though, so
I wasn't really going that way with it. So.
But when Casey Jones walks into the bar. And the jukebox plays Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, that was
I like that.
I like that nod.
That's probably
the Easter egg was good.
My favorite scene with Casey in the whole movie.
Because
that was Casey Jones.
Yeah.
That was Casey Jones.
I was really mad.
This is my biggest problem with the entire movie is that now who the fuck is it at Nickelodeon? Like, dude, if you're hearing this and it's your fault, shoot me an email because we need to have words. Words. What do you not like about Casey Jones? Because in the cartoon, he's this goofball little dipshit who gets himself into more trouble than he's worth, and he has the dumbest fucking catchphrase ever. Goongala. He just yells that every time he will yell that multiple times in a fight. Every time he gets up and jumps, it's Goongala.
Goongala.
And I can't fucking stand it. And then in this movie, he's a fast talking. I wouldn't say loud.
Happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, he's a happy-go-lucky.
Wanted to be what is it? He wanted to be a
detective one day.
A detective,
detective one day.
No, he's a corrections officer.
He's a goofball. He's a goofball who just cannot shut up. He's just like, he's talking.
Yeah. I've been hearing a lot of people say that he didn't get enough. He didn't get enough screen time. That a lot of them didn't get enough screen time.
A bulk of the time that
Stephen Amell was a less dour Green Arrow in that movie. That's what that's what skeptics said. They're like less dour Green Arrow.
People are gonna make that comparison regardless because Arrow's the only thing he's got really under his belt. And
I just feel like he should have been more tough though. Because he is kind of like a wimp.
Now, okay, you can't necessarily put it on Stephen Amell.
No, it's not him.
Writing.
It's the writing.
A lot of it's the writing. Like, it's the scene where he pickpockets the detective's phone.
I like that.
Like, that was great.
That was
Casey Jones.
That's Casey Jones.
But
I love that.
Everything in between is just terrible. And the way
Megan Fox will never be able
of... Now, okay, from this point forward, I don't think we've spoiled anything yet.
I don't think
Good
so.
for us. But from this point forward, spoilers. Which you just heard like an hour of us reading these comic books, and if you didn't know what happened to them, we just spoiled them for you. So if you didn't know spoilers were coming, come on.
You should expect.
You should know every time we do a podcast, there's gonna be spoilers.
First time listeners and stuff. But
listeners, watch.
The way he dispatches of Bebop and Rocksteady pissed me off too, because it's just a grenade. Shouldn't they be like okay, maybe Rocksteady would withstand a grenade. But Bebop's fucking pork chops at this point. But no, all they do is, my man. Another problem I got with the movie is literally, and I think this is literally every scene that they're in.
If I took a shot every time I said that, I would have drank. I would have been drunk.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like they had no other good dialogue for them. Like
I liked how cheesy they were because that's what they were supposed. That whole like banter. Characters. But I felt like they were just.
They were goofy dumbasses, which is what they should.
I did like Sheamus's. I did like his performance though.
Sheamus did surprisingly well.
He did surprisingly well. I liked it.
Sheamus did good for what you expect from a wrestler.
Exactly.
So.
Well, see, people think the wrestlers are like big old
okay, now
meatheads,
watch,
but I mean, like,
watch WWE films. Like,
well,
watch
but
all
you might
the
have been a
WWE
big
films.
fan.
And,
no, I was disappointed by Stockman.
Me too.
Throughout the whole movie, I enjoyed him. I liked him. He did a good Stockman.
Got on my nerves a little bit.
Annoying.
And I expected to get the Fly. I expect
or
a lead-in.
I didn't
lead-in.
Spoiler, obviously, at the very end when they haul him away, I was expecting him to pull out one of those little syringe things, or like us get a little scene of him like rolling away in the car or whatever, and him like pull one out of his sleeve or his pocket or something, and inject his leg, or just do something. And we have Baxter Stockman on the scene, so we, like, diehard fans, we know what we're going to get.
I didn't really expect it. Or
his laugh was.
I feel like with this movie, with how rushed it felt, like it would have just been too much to really go for the Fly just yet. Maybe if the next movie gets made, not maybe. If the next movie gets made, they're definitely going to do Stockman.
Yeah.
I liked that the Turtles got that, April O'Neil and Casey Jones and all that kind of got sidelined for a bit when it talked about, the whole wanting to be human, or, the whole thing with the Turtles.
Yeah.
I liked that they focused on that, but then they just, never mind. And then they, whatever. I liked that they focused on that and they pushed everything to the sideline.
And I'll agree. I liked the inner turmoil with the Turtles. It's a classic Turtles story.
It is.
It's nothing we haven't seen before. And there are probably better iterations, but it was at least done well, which is something I can't say for a lot of this movie.
Because we've never really gotten that whole high and mighty Leo.
Oh yeah.
And on the big screen.
Okay, on the big screen. Yeah,
so getting this, and it's I can't remember what was the line, but he basically was like, my opinion is the only one that matters.
Bitch, you gonna listen?
Yeah. He's like, I thought we did this together. He was like, or something along those lines. It was him and Raph going back and forth after Raph found out about the serum.
The mutagen that could possibly turn.
And he was
human.
Like, my decision is the only one that matters.
Yeah.
There was just no development. There was no development of characters. Like Shredder and Karai, how they survived the last one. They're two different actors.
Karai?
Yeah.
I'm
They're both
certain.
portrayed by different actors.
Right.
But that was Karai. Yes, that was Karai and Shredder.
Shredder was the same.
Nope.
Yeah. I didn't even know Karai was in the first movie.
Yep. Pretty sure.
Pretty sure
she was really tiny in there, but she was in there.
But yeah.
They were both portrayed by different characters. But I mean, there's no development. How they survived the last movie. There's nothing. There's look at Shredder's new outfit. Look at Shredder's outfit. Ooh, look at this. I felt like there was nothing. They just threw characters.
Well,
they threw characters together. I feel it's like little character sandwich. And
you've also got the no body, no death situation, and they defeated the Shredder. And
how they get through it.
Scene. So it's easily explainable as they knocked out the Shredder. The cops.
Well, because Shredder was in that suit.
Yeah.
And
he could have been easily protected by that suit from a fall like that. I mean, comic book logic, of course.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm kind of disappointed he didn't fall into the back of the garbage truck.
Right.
First
right.
But I'll cut my losses.
They should have spent more time fleshing those characters out, though.
No, I'm sorry. Okay, let's talk about the first movie for a second. I'm sorry. That is such an amazing movie with the worst ending. That ending is just terrible because you get all this build up. You get all this they're training out in the woods and they're becoming better. They're expanding their minds. They're ready. And then they get to the actual fight. They get strip tossed one by one. No big deal for the Shredder. And then it comes down to Shredder and Splinter. You're like, oh shit. We haven't really seen Splinter get in the shit. So we're about to get an epic battle. Nope. One flip, garbage truck, Casey Jones pulls the lever. That's how they defeat the Shredder? What the fuck? And he's not dead?
Yeah.
See, that's what I mean.
Bullshit.
Nothing.
Also, on that note, Splinter, it was a love-hate thing with Splinter in this one. Like,
he was mad.
I didn't get enough of it. Yeah, but like, I enjoyed him because he isn't portrayed as this like overly crippled old, like decrepit, not crippled, decrepit old man. You know, he's still a very active,
very spry.
I think that's another element that's missing from this movie, though, is that master-student's relationship.
Yeah,
it's. I don't even. I
got
can't think of.
They called him Dad. They called him Dad in it.
I can't. Well, I mean that's
yeah, but I mean there
family, but
I mean I felt like they're like
that's different. I mean him teaching them.
We didn't get that. If he wasn't in the movie. He was so minuscule,
but a single line he said.
The very first time we see him, he's
about
meditating on his finger,
yeah.
And it's about to count down to him having like his 24-hour straight meditation for total enlightenment, and he gets knocked over by the turtles. Which that was kind of a classic thing, but I liked it. And like the intro was really cool, really funny to watch. Them like fighting over the pizza coming down the.
That was good. I like
go to
that.
The basketball game. That was pretty cool.
I just felt like they could have did more.
I think they overused the nostalgia trip in this because literally everything has a classic Turtles tone.
Which that's what Dave Green wanted, though. Dave Green wanted that nostalgia tone.
Yeah,
because everyone was complaining about the first movie.
In the ground
I agree. Well, I think that he tried a little too hard to give everyone that 80s Turtles feel. And he tried a little too hard and put a little too much, but it wasn't enough development. And it was all like zingers, one-liners, and like all too much nostalgia and not enough. Why the fuck are we watching this movie? What the fuck is going on in this movie?
April is
that she's toe thumbs, and I hate her.
She's there.
I'm never going to understand why she is April
Michael Bay.
Yeah.
Emma Stone would have made it better.
Here's the thing. She does stuff in the movie. She helps.
Like she walks to one place and then she walks, and then she runs sometimes.
I mean, she does act. I mean, she's the one who steals the fucking.
She's just awkward.
But it's Megan Fox, so whatever she's doing is buried underneath the emotionless. The emotionless husk of Megan Fox, and you're like, wait, she did help.
That scene when she ran past Bebop and Rocksteady and grabbed the vial. Made me feel like there was a stagehand on stage that needed to go grab something off stage because they forgot it in the previous scene. That's what reminded me when she ran it. I was like, "Oh, grab it quick!" Like that,
sometimes I felt like she was trying to be sad but coming off as hungry.
No, Megan Fox, eat a Snickers. Why? Because you suck.
Casey Jones is this like entry-level position, security guard type guy for the prison, whatever. How did he afford that brand new Dodge Challenger?
Michael Bay bought it for him.
How did someone on his pay? And I think he even made mention
we're getting too deep into nitpicking now.
Wasn't the Fast and the Furious wasn't made by the same what's his face?
Almost every Michael Bay movie has the same exact soundtrack.
Now Michael Bay was just the producer on this one, right? He didn't direct this one,
right?
Yeah,
no, he did.
But still,
a producer has a large influence on a film.
I just anytime there was orchestrated music, I thought I was watching a Transformers movie, especially when it would pan the city skyline and stuff like that.
Okay, I know that I've been harping a lot on how Megan Fox is toe thumbs and how she can fall in a hole, but I just really miss that yellow jumpsuit. I just really miss it, and not just that. Yeah. She looked like she was on the set of Transformers with her white tank top and her blue jeans.
We hear this every time we get something
new. And her
new.
flannel tied around her waist.
We hear this every time something new Turtles comes out. We hear jumpsuit. Guys.
Not all the time.
It's not 1984. I was going
to say, it's 2016 right now.
No
so they can't make a variation on it? They can't make a variation on it?
They do. With yellow jackets and yellow...
Wait, was it when she wore the flannel skirt and the white tank top
Give
or
us
the white
yellow.
tank top and jeans
She
with the
had a
flannel
yellow
jacket
jacket.
tied around her? Which one
Give
was
me
that?
Give me a
She had a
yellow
yellow jacket
bomber
in that movie.
jacket, and I'll be
What,
guessing.
what part?
Give me a
I
different
don't
actor.
remember. It's Megan Fox. You can't ask me to
There's
pinpoint
no part.
a specific thing
No.
about Megan Fox. but
Maybe in
she
the very
had-
beginning.
Give me a better actress and a yellow bomber jacket with the stripes down the
Yeah.
arms.
Right?
And I will be happy.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you.
She
looked like she was on set of
We
Transformers.
don't need a jumpsuit ever again.
I
Because,
know.
like, that is seriously an 80s thing, and that's where it
Or-
belongs.
It
Or
would have
if
been better than
nothing else-
Transformers costumes in.
If nothing
Turtles
else,
movie.
let's go. She's in the gym and in a yellow tracksuit for one scene.
Just one,
A
just something.
tracksuit is
That would be
close enough.
that would be the nod that I would want, not the whole like,
Yeah.
train.
Anyway,
All in
That's
all,
me puking in the background. If you
I-
guys can't see it, I'm puking.
ultimately, I didn't care too much for the movie. It's
3
not
slices of pizza out of
horrible.
5.
There are enjoyable parts, but it's
Yeah.
it's the exact opposite of the first movie. I went into that movie expecting to hate it, and I thought it was great. When I did my review for it on the Sorta My Brand channel, the old versus new review, I actually ended up siding with the new one over the old movie. Because you got to take nostalgia out of it. You got to put them side by side as movies.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Like as
so
a
going
movie,
into this one, I was like, oh, it's gonna be great. We got Crank, Bebop, Rocksteady, Casey Jones, and it's Stephen Amell, and the cast is amazing.
Stephen Amell.
Aside from one person, the cast is amazing. Outside of that one person,
Toe thumbs.
and it was a huge disappointment.
Yeah, I
like,
agree.
I went in there not quite as hyped up as you, so I think that's why I enjoyed it.
I wasn't
more.
hyped up at all.
Like
I went at I tried to get down to a
wasn't.
level where I was apathetic going into it.
I
was
was.
like, it's gonna be a movie.
I was apathetic. I was like, I'm spending $5 to
watch.
watch a movie that's going to be bad.
so.
That's what I thought, and I did surpass my original. Like, I never try to go into. I try to be neutral when I go somewhere and watch a movie, but I was already so like I was dreading it.
Except for
Because
Star
of-
Wars. You go into Star Wars.
Yeah,
excited.
if anyone hates Star Wars and they're walking like, I don't like it, I'm kicking them in the knees.
I don't think I'm gonna like this movie. Shut up, it's Star Wars.
Shut
You
up.
wouldn't be
You
here
about
if
to see
you
a
didn't.
Because
lightsaber?
Rogue One is going to be the best thing in
So
my life at the
it's
time.
not
I'm gonna give
No one's
Turtles
gonna talk
2
to
and a
me.
half.
No one's gonna.
I'll
Like,
give it
Chelsea, you
2.5
gotta work.
half shells. out of
really
5.
only 2.5 from you?
I'm gonna give it
You
3. I'm
talked
gonna give it a
way
solid
more.
3.2
Well-
half shells out of 5. Stephen
About
Amell is in
half
it.
of the movie I really thoroughly enjoyed, but about half, like if I sit and I think about half of
This has
the
been
movie,
enlightening for you, hasn't it?
Well, like this is
Stephen Amell gets one
everything
whole
that you guys were
one whole
saying.
shell to himself. Megan Fox destroys him though. Sorry.
um,
Go on.
I'm gonna give it two shells.
I'm only giving it
I'm gonna give
3.2
it
because
2.
Stephen Amell gets his own half shell.
I'm gonna give it 2. If I find it for like maybe $5, I might buy it. Maybe $5.
I'll
I don't even know if I
probably-
want to spend that much.
You know, I feel
So
like
Go to
I
this,
Cash
already
Land
spent
for
that
$1
much.
and grab
this
it.
would be one of those things that goes like straight to Netflix.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah.
Oof.
Well, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up here. Remember, go over to the Sorta My Brand Facebook page, where we're going to be, from this point forward, starting with this episode, and any live shows we do past this point, it's all going to be mainly advertised there. Now, we'll share things to the Sorta My Comics page when it's necessary, to our personal pages, but you won't see this. You won't see a Sorta My Comics post with this link in it. You will see a shared post from Sorta My Brand. So
don't
head
miss
over
out.
to Sorta My Brand, like that page, because if you look at the post that's pinned to the top, we're doing a huge giveaway. I'm not going to go into the laundry list of stuff that's in it, but it's some awesome
Check
great
out the
crap.
pinned post. Has all the information. If you listen to the last episode, you'll know about it.
Yeah.
You'll know about the hidden tag
Hashtag.
in there, which
Yeah.
we're not going to reveal now because they should have listened to the last one to
go,
get it.
Go listen to episode 3 if you haven't yet, and you'll get a secret way to get 5 extra entries.
You're welcome.
I think there are like you can get a total of 27 entries if you do everything possible to get an entry.
Don't miss out, you turkeys.
Yeah,
Don't miss out.
get that going on. We're up to like 120 some odd, 130 right now. I'd love it if it got to 300.
Same. That's the goal right now.
But yeah, so go over and check out Sorta My Brand. Other places you can find us are on SoundCloud, YouTube for Sorta My Brand. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter for Sorta My Podcast. You can find Sorta My Comics on Facebook, where we share nerd news and stuff, pretty much where we pull the topics for this. And you can find us personally on our Instagrams and stuff. You can see those in the description of this video.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it depends on where you're listening, if it's YouTube or not. But either way.
Description of this podcast.
Podcast, yes.
Yeah.
Guys, my name has been Vincent Herman, Vin the Human.
Has it been?
What is it now?
I'd like to do the opposite of thank our unofficial non-sponsor, Frontier. Frontier, the great, by some standard of shit, internet service that you can get ripped off on and and hung up over when you have the slightest problem. Frontier, they're fucking me. They shouldn't be fucking you. Yeah. Anyways, guys, my name is Vin the Human, Vincent Herman.
My name is Chelsea Watkins, or Chellraiser.
This is James Odle, Alpha Spectre.
Cue that badass outro music. There you go.